Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We made it. Welcome to episode 100 of the Retro Gamers. Some sitcoms don't even make it this far. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What is going on, Ant? Congratulations, 100 episodes.
I feel old.
That's besides the point. 100 official episodes.
Oh, okay. So 100 official episodes. Yeah, I didn't think we'd make it. Did you think we'd make it?
There may have been a couple of sketchy parts there where, the road looked a little rough.
Yeah, I blame you on all of those.
Why not? I'm the one doing all the recording, so sure.
That's right.
No, but all joking aside, I honestly didn't think it would balloon into what we've made this into. When we first started doing this, just sat around, threw my phone down, recorded, just to have a good time, and look what it's become.
I know, you've ruined my life, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Become the conglomerate that it is.
Yeah, well, speaking of the conglomeration of our show, now that we're 100 episode olds, where's my money?
And we're going to have a wonderful episode this week for the Retro Gamers.
Sounds about right.
We're going to have some fun guests. We're going to do some reminiscing, and we're going to do what we always do, talk about the old times, and, just kind of tell you the inside of probably what we have happening moving forward as well.
Yeah, I think we have some good stuff going on moving forward. We'll be announcing that stuff later. But yeah, talking with you for 100 episodes has been actually kind of fun.
It really, let's face facts. If we didn't have the podcast, what would we be doing?
Oh God, I have a list. Do you want to hear what goes in my? I'd be at the Hollywood Bowl every day this summer.
This is true, and I'd still be in bed. So,
hey, I'm 3 hours behind you, and I'm awake.
Actually, I do want to talk to you later because you went to Jaws in concert. We got to talk about that later.
Yeah, we can touch on it briefly.
Okay. How was it?
It was awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was just basically the movie with no music, right? Like they had the dialogue?
No. There's the movie.
Yeah.
And then the live orchestra is playing the score.
No, that's what I'm saying. Then,
yeah. But
you would still hear the audio, right?
Of course.
Okay. So they somehow was able to extract the music from the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's just editing folks know that the music is put on a different layer. So
you work in Hollywood, not me. So,
I make the movies that cause you to be a couch potato.
Speaking of money, but we'll talk about that later. Royalties, my friend, royalties. So definitely we have again a lot to talk about. A lot of stores that we've discovered that we'll touch on later. The epic running situation that. Again, we'll talk later about that. Brings me much joy, and you hate it. The red elephant in the room, but we'll talk about that again at a later time today.
Yes.
But right now, what I'd like to do is introduce not just a man, but a legend on this show for this network, and. He's been a friend of ours for many, many years. He was our first ever super fan, the first person to actually suggest a topic for a show, and the first ever live guest for the Retro Gamers. And do you want to do
these things and so much more?
Do you have any accolades for this human being?
He's my favorite bald friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie is back on the Retro Gamers. The suspension has been lifted. He's allowed back on the shows.
Frankie, wait, he was suspended? Did I miss that?
It's like Hogan being suspended from the Hall of Fame. No one knew he was suspended. No one knew Frankie was suspended, but he's back. Frankie, how you been, my friend?
I'm good, gentlemen. Thanks for having me. Thanks for lifting my suspension.
Good.
And it's an honor to get a phone call from Rippo to ask me to be on the show.
Absolutely.
That's what I do, Frankie.
For the special occasion.
That's right. We wouldn't have made it to 100 without you.
Oh, please. I was nothing. You guys did it all on your own.
Yeah, I know, but take a little credit.
I'm just like Larry was trying to say, the pain in the ass. All right, I gotta watch the G-rated.
Yeah, we're PG, so.
Listen, I know how to edit.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure my whole segment will be cut out.
Oh, okay. Stop it! Here we go again.
I was just to say it's kind of hard to. It would be kind of hard to cut you out. You're part of the opening segment, Frank. So,
but congratulations to the two of you for making it this far and not killing each other.
Thank you.
Well, you know, each other.
I think living 3,000 miles away from each other actually helps that.
By the way, who is the real host of the show?
Me.
Wow. And I was going to say equal parts. In my head, I was in my house going to go, maybe I'll say me, but I'll do equal parts.
Okay. Well, you got my answer.
Let's do this. You know, who's got full control when the show's done before it airs? So
me.
Do you know what? Forget, I'm not going to get into it. But no, Frankie, you know, you definitely was one of the first ones to support us, to really, you know, like us, and to really help get our name out there. So we really do owe a little bit of the show to you. You know, thank you for that. And, you know, how was it? Like, what were your thoughts when you heard? Because you've known us. How long have you known us?
Got to go back. It's got to be almost 20 years. I know you guys.
Yeah,
sound about right.
That's
about 2 years. 2 years before you moved into the apartment. So
the one in Brooklyn.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember the exact year.
So that was about 18 or 19 years ago. Yeah.
What'd you think when you heard that me and Anthony were going to try and started a podcast about retro video games?
Well, I forgot. Anthony told me originally you did the wrestling podcast is where it all started. Am I right, Ant? That was what you did first?
We may have talked about something.
Yeah, we talked about something. I don't think we ever did it.
I remember you sitting when you came back from California to stay here for a bit. You were actually, I saw you in Staten Island. You must have been staying at your sister's, and you were headed out to Long Island to do the podcast about the wrestling. So I didn't know about the video game, the retro gamers, until after that. So I'm pretty sure your wrestling one was first, but you guys would know better.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Larry. I think he's right. Didn't we record two at the same time?
Before all this, before the retro gamers, before the better half, before the yin and the yang, I was doing one just called More the Same, which is still out there. Right. And that was just me doing a show. I just wanted to do a podcast about anything. And of course, the only thing I knew how to talk about was wrestling. So yeah, I'm sure, Ant, when you came back, and it had to have been after you started working for WWE.
Right at that point, I wasn't allowed to talk about wrestling.
So I think you may have just
allowed to talk wrestling.
Touched on other things, but bottom line, yeah, Ant came out. We didn't even actually. The genesis of this show was we did a couple of on my original podcast about gaming, and that's how it kind of branched into this.
Yeah, and then lo and behold, we just well, actually, what's funny is while I was in New York for that year, we recorded a few episodes, and then it kind of fizzled.
Yeah, it did.
Because I was traveling a lot. Hi, Cable. I was traveling a lot, and so and not only that, I was just exhausted, so I didn't have time to do this.
Whereas now you travel a lot.
I travel a lot. I'm exhausted.
And he still finds time.
Do this.
What'd you say, Frankie?
And he still finds time.
He does. He's done it from Japan. He's done it from the moon.
I know. I've recorded this from like places all over the world.
Meanwhile, I go to Brooklyn and I'm like, you need a guest host.
I mean, this is partially his show. He has to be able.
What do you mean? It's half his show. Of course it is.
Right.
That's it. It's like I said, it's my show.
But to get back to your question, I thought it was a great idea that you guys started this up. I thought it was pretty cool. I probably didn't think much of it, to be honest with you, because I was probably thinking of other like. Oh,
fair enough.
The cursing.
Don't worry about it, Frankie. Don't worry about it.
We got the beep.
Yeah.
Bleep.
It's okay. Logan's here.
Hi, Logan.
Here. Okay. Let's get back to Peter Parker. Okay. I thought it was nice. I thought the show was good. You guys in the beginning.
I got Jackie the Joke Man Martling.
Arr.
Cool. They look like Shrinky Dinks.
Oh, wait. This is the best one. Photobomb.
Hey,
Nice.
Yeah, I thought the show was pretty good. I liked it. I listened to it. Actually, it wasn't pretty good. It was really good. You guys talked about a lot of good stuff in the first bunch of episodes, and about the video old stuff, and people like that stuff. We do, you do, and you guys are a good team together.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir.
So I enjoyed it. I have to admit that I'm a little behind on some of the podcasts on the entire network and some of the other stuff that I listen to. I just don't have that.
Well, that's what happens when Larry pumps out 38 hours of entertainment a week.
Yeah, that is true.
It is exhausting. I got to stop saying yes to podcasts. So, Frankie, also, like I said, being our first live guest when we broadcasted from Barcade.
Oh, great time.
Yeah. That was actually very fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Especially when I heard they don't really let people do that, so...
Oh.
Well, don't you have a certain inside?
A friend of mine, yes, who actually, when I travel out to L.A., if you're going to be around, because that may turn into a solo vacation.
No, it's not going to turn into a solo vacation. I'll be here.
Oh, okay.
I know, trust me, I'm upset about it, too.
Barcade Los Angeles should be open by then.
Yeah, there's a Barcade in L.A., or coming to L.A.
Got to work on that in a couple of spots.
This guy's doing pretty good. He's got 3 places now.
Well, he doesn't own them. He just, but...
Oh,
still.
I thought he did. I thought he had the one in the city and the one in Brooklyn.
He was managing it.
Oh, okay.
So, Frankie, again, he introduced the Superheroes episode,
All right.
which we did the 2-parter on.
That was great. Yeah, that was our first 2-parter.
Actually, everything
That was our only 2-parter.
No, we kind of... Well, yeah, you're right, because we did 2 episodes from Barcade, which we broke into 2 episodes. So every time Frankie's on the show, it turns into a 2-episode. So I'm a little worried how long this is going to go today.
I was expecting this to be like a 4-hour show, so...
Why not? We'll marathon.
I'm locked in.
And the other thing I want to talk about, now at this point, where we're this far in, Frankie, especially now, I want to get your thoughts, your opinions on, me and Anthony, ever since we started really getting into this show, and when Anthony's going over to Japan, I found a place out here. Now our shopping has gotten out of control. And all of a sudden,
one of us,
we're just buying old games, which is fun, but me and Anthony probably would not have done it as much if we didn't have the podcast. You yourself, though, Frankie, you actually tend to do a lot of this where you'll go out, maybe to flea markets, stuff like that, and try and find items, look to sell on eBay. Do you do a lot of that with games? Do you do a lot of that with action figures? Because I know you're into comics and stuff. How do you go about it?
I don't do flea markets. I would go to flea markets, but usually they tend to know what they have, and things are more money. They know they have a game that's $20. They're going to try and sell it for $20.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, I want to sell it to make a few bucks, unless it's a game that I want. Since I've been listening to you guys, and since I get my hands on games, I've been keeping the games that I like any superhero games, any of the Star Wars games. Those are kind of going to be my personal collection. That I got a couple stashed inside the cabinet. Some Ninja Turtle games, but it's usually I like to hit the garage sales.
Okay.
Because these people don't know what they have. They want to get rid of shit. They want to throw stuff out in the garbage. They sell them for $1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that. I don't usually get that lucky because people go to these places at the crack of dawn. At 9 o'clock, they start. People are there waiting for the goods. And games are the goods. Comics are the goods. The action figures are the goods. So people are snatching these up. But you will tend to find stuff that's cheap. That's why I try to tell you guys, because I know you always buying stuff, Larry. Anthony's always on the hunt for stuff. And it's fun to wake up or a little bit early, plan your day a little bit if you got the app for the garage sales, and you never know what you could find. I found a Dreamcast, which I didn't test yet, a Dreamcast, a couple of games I could actually look at right now because I think they're in front of me and I could tell you what they were. No Dreamcast games. I got the Dreamcast controller. I got Kingdom Hearts, the original. I got that this other guy's game. I think I got it all for $10.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably not. Gonna work.
It may not work. You know what? It's to be honest, it's still in my car. Ratchet Clank for PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
PlayStation 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I got the Kingdom Hearts, the original.
That's right.
They both work. I just don't know if the Dreamcast
If the system works.
Yeah,
Right.
because I don't have a Dreamcast, and I was like, for $10 for all three. After the guy wanted more, obviously, and you could talk him down a little bit. And I'm sure that was a pretty good buy.
Now I can imagine that transaction going when the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm looking. I want to sell it for like $80. I'll give you 10."
Well, I mean, that's how you work it. It's pretty. I'm not one to talk people down in prices. I don't like doing that. I'm kind of shy. If they say a number and it's maybe I'll go down a couple of bucks, but I can't sit there and haggle with somebody. It's their stuff. A lot of people do that. I mean, my cousin is great with that. My aunt and my uncle are great with that. The things that they find. I mean, my cousin Joey, he found a lot on eBay, and eBay is another thing that where the two of you could find games that you like. He found a lot. He must have spent like not even $100 for, I'm telling you, about 100 games, a couple of Atari systems, and he made his money back just on selling a few of those games because people don't know what they're selling. They just want to dump it. They feel like it's a whole lot of games and a couple of systems just to get rid of it. And if you're on top of stuff and you want to make some cash, or even for your personal collection, you got to keep your eye out and you got to look because you will find it. You'll find it. I mean, go ahead.
No, agreed. And that's where my worry comes in is, will it work? When I go to the flea markets or even I walk by a garage, out here on Long Island, they have tons of flea markets on the island. Usually have them set up over by the train stations. And I've bought a few games from there. None I was able to play because in the beginning I was kind of buying them just, it's cool to have. Like, it would be more of a display than a game, which at that point I don't care if it works. But that's why, even though, you're kind of paying quote-unquote top dollar, if you get it from a store, it's almost guaranteed, kind of, sort of, that it's going to work. My luck, if I bought a lot of games, a lot of games on eBay, I know that probably none of them are going to work, but that's my luck. You've been, lucky on the end that you've been finding some good stuff, and you've been kind of flipping it, which is fantastic. When you go out to the garages and, people's garages, even if they're not selling stuff, I know you just kind of open the door and you look around. Do you look for anything specific? Is there anything that catches your eye or that you want to make sure of where, all right, this is going to be something worthwhile I can try and sell?
Besides the toys and the video games, those are the first things I look for because that's what I like. So anything with toys, video games, comics, figures, and then usually anything that's in a box, it catches my eye.
Okay.
Anything that's new, things that are brand new in the box are always good. And I went to somebody's house last week, and I took my mother-in-law. We went shopping, and then we stopped at a garage sale, and she is like a gold mine. Whenever I go with her, I find, like, great stuff. To get off the topic of video games, what they had, like Jim Shaw. You know who Jim Shaw is, Anthony, don't you?
Yeah.
Right? He's like a sculptor, and he makes all the statues. I mean, these things are like $60, $70 a statue. This lady, she was getting rid of them for like $10. And those I like. I wouldn't even want to sell them. And I bought, they do Disney, they do Peanuts, they do... all the Christmas stuff, Rudolph. Remember Rudolph when we were a kid, the TV show?
Yeah.
Rankin Bass.
But yeah, so like you never know what you're gonna find. I mean, I look for like anything and everything, but my go-tos are games and toys. Is what the first thing. As soon as I drive past there, I look to see if there's any toys laying around, or I can recognize a video game system on the table if I see it. You just have an eye for it, and you just know I have to stop here.
Man, I wouldn't want to be in the car in front of you as your eye is wandering to the left or the right.
You just can't be nice, Rippo.
That's my part of the show.
I know it is. It's true. But I'm a very good driver, so I'm aware of who's in front of me and who's in back of me, and I pull over.
I want to pull up your DMV record.
Yeah. Well, Frankie, let me ask you something. In terms of games, though, like, do you remember what the I guess the best you got for your buck? In other words, something you bought really, really cheap and then sold for the most expensive. Like, what's the most expensive game you've kind of made a profit off of? Do you remember?
I think, probably one of the Final Fantasy games for PlayStation, for the first PlayStation. It was a double disc.
Oh, those were all
wow.
3 or 4 discs.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't say, maybe like 60, 65 for the game.
Okay.
Sold for, and I think probably the game was probably like $1. You know, it was one of those where my uncle bought like a ton of games for like $5, and it was in there. You know, and the game worked. It was complete because I know I look for complete games the way you guys do. You like everything complete, and that's what people want. They want the booklets. They want the case. They don't want the case cracked. You know.
Yeah, that's more. I think that's more me than Larry.
Yeah,
I always want them complete.
Yeah, I want them complete too for myself. The ones that I got.
I kind of just started looking for boxes for some of the games I already own, and even those, like the boxes, I kind of assume are going to have some wear and tear, going to have some love to it. Yeah. So, but I just literally just started buying some of those. So.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I have a whole bunch thanks to all my trips to Japan because those guys know how to take care of their games.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what I can ask you to get me from Japan since you keep going back there. What can I get?
The gaming mule that he is bringing stuff back for people.
I feel. I mean, well, you know what? I mean, it could be worse. I could be like drug smuggling. So I'd rather bring games into the U.S.
Are they big? Are they big on superhero stuff out there? I would think they are. The anime.
Yeah, well, anime is really big there. So, like, in terms of video games, if I had to say there was a difference between U.S. and Japanese video games, they have a lot of anime-themed video games, and to be honest with you, and manga-themed also. When I see those games, I have no idea what they are because they're completely in Japanese. They've never been released in the U.S. So, I mean. Do they have, they look like anime, so, women with boobs.
Yes.
Perfect.
Just right on the cover, asking you to buy
it. Works out fantastic every time. The systems, if you pick up a system, Frankie, let me ask you, like, do you try and, I'm not going to say repair it, but I guess, like, do you try and, like, clean them up? Do you try and, or do you always just trying to find the pristine ones?
No, I'm definitely cleaning it. I'm Perelling it. I'm spraying it down. I'm cleaning it. I mean, if the system don't work, if I get something from whoever, like, I don't know how to fix it. I just, I'll just resell it as is. Doesn't work. This don't work. And I've sold a few of them that just don't work.
Okay.
And it's noted that it don't work. Anything with my cousin Joey, Frankie's brother, is excellent with this stuff. So any Nintendo system that don't work, like he knows how to fix these things with the pins inside the original Nintendos, and something with the 64s. Like even the Ataris, he figures out how to get them to work. So
hey, Frankie, ask him if he can fix a Sega CD.
That'd be a tough one.
Yeah, I know because my Sega CD is broken.
Oh yeah, I actually have a Sega CD upstairs.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should talk dollars.
How often do you use it?
Never. Actually, I just used it to test a bunch of CD games Sega CD games when I got it.
I will give you $3.
There is a certain Buffy figure I'm looking for, and I'm sure that you have one.
Oh, do I?
I know you do.
Well, with the resurgence of the show, look out.
I think we're going to spin off into another show. like the retro barter system.
Yeah. Oh, imagine the retro trade show. Or something like that. Go. They have those. What do they call those? Oh, well, I can't remember. But they have them on terrestrial radio.
I was going to say they call them flea markets.
No. Like, actually, there's shows you call up, be like, hi, I'm selling a Sega CD for $30, in good condition, whatever. Howard Stern, they would be pranking them all the time. Yeah. But they're real.
Yeah, you know who's supposed to be good at fixing these games is Bulletproof Comics. Oh. You both have a blank stare on your face. How dare you not remember that place?
No. I remember Bulletproof Comics.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they were still around.
Right. Oh, and that could be a little plug for them. That'd be nice. They're redoing the whole place. They're redoing it down. They're still on Flatbush Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Flatbush and Ocean, but I think they're redoing the whole downstairs, and I think they bought or rented the upstairs apartment. I don't know if they own the building or not, and they're redoing the whole upstairs. So I think it's going to be 2 floors. There's some artist that does like special covers for the comics just for them. And he's a well-known artist. And I don't know, they're doing a little gallery. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but it's, he's still going. I can't remember his name. I think his name is Ken. You remember his name?
No, everybody's name is Ken to me.
Does he have a friend named Ryu?
All right. Good one. Yeah, I'm looking at your Sega CDs, and they're quite pricey.
Sega CDs can be, yeah.
Yeah, it depends. It depends which version you have. If you have the Sega CDX, that is the priciest one. You can get that one's like a $400
with the Sega CD with the Sega 32X.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
No, Anthony. No, I think Anthony.
That's
CDX.
No, that's what the CDX is.
Wait, hold on. No, it's not. No. The CDX is the thing I've been looking for, which is the hybrid Genesis Sega CD, but it's small. Like it almost looks like a Discman.
Yeah, it looks like a Discman, but I think you can also play the 32X games in there as well.
You could, but the 32X is bigger than the Sega CDX. So
That's
it does
true.
look a little wonky. And you wouldn't be able to play the CD games because you can't open the door once the CDX is in there.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I've been trying to track that down too because I have the original. I don't remember which version of Sega CD. I have the one that loads up on the side.
Okay, that was the second generation.
That was the second generation,
That's
that thing's a monstrosity.
Yeah, these things are expensive. You're talking about $150 for this system at least.
That's
actually I have a store out here by me called Game Dude. That's one of my go-to stores when I go retro shopping because it's Larry's been there. It's like it's like a warehouse.
Yeah, I know. We got to hit that up.
Yeah, we'll hit that up next time when you come visit. But Game Dude's got them for $90. So
really?
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna go pick one up there one of these days. Maybe after 2018, for obvious reasons, Larry.
We'll get into that later, folks.
But Frankie, this just prompts me to ask you because I don't know if we asked you this the last time you were on the show. But what is your favorite video game or video game franchise?
I'll go non-sports, obviously.
Non-sports.
I'm going to say the top of my head right now that I can think of is the Marvel Alliance games for PS1. Is that where it started? PS1, the first Marvel Alliance.
I think it was PS2. PS2.
Yes, I think so.
If we want to go, we're going to stick with that. If we want to go a little further back to the Nintendo days, I think Zelda was probably the best game.
That's right, it was.
Were you a fan of Zelda 2?
I was, but I didn't really get that far in it. I don't have the patience the way Anthony does, and I know Larry has no patience to finish games because his track record is worse than mine.
Wait a minute. That's changing.
We've actually had discussions about this lately, Frankie, on how Larry's been finishing games and I've been struggling.
It's hard, man.
Short of Castlevania 2.
Games are hard.
Yeah. Castlevania 2, I plowed through on live stream.
And how long did it take you?
I think the total runtime is about 3 hours. And not only did I complete it to fulfill Larry's promise, I did it from Japan. I was in my hotel room at 4:00 in the morning playing Castlevania 2.
Weird. No, actually, it was pretty cool. Castlevania 2 I can't deal with, but I have been, like Anthony said, I think it's just a change in patience, or at least for me. Mm-hmm. As I get older, my patience is actually starting to get a little bit better.
Which I find funny, because I always feel like as you get older, your patience wears thin.
Oh, I'm sure I'll hit that point eventually. Yes.
Oh, get another guest on the show.
Uh-oh. Who's coming in? Oh, I see a little...
Link.
Oh, there he is. Speaking of which. Oh, he looks ecstatic.
He's thrilled. He's very thrilled.
Frankie, let me ask you this. I think you kind of mentioned it before. Like you're saying, when we started doing the podcast, you started listening to the podcast. You've always been, a fan of video gaming. Has your purchasing, what's the word I'm looking for, Anthony? Habits, I guess?
Yeah.
Have they changed or increased now since... you've listened to the show and two of my friends are getting into all this retro stuff. maybe it's high time I start recollecting.
Yes and no. Slightly. When I see the games that I like I'm not just going to go, you guys seem to get every game that you possibly can to add to your collection. I'm getting just games that I know that I would want to play or I played in the past. Like I said earlier, any of the Marvel games, some of the Star Wars games.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I like to grab. And anything that's based on the superhero stuff. What do I got here that I've been collecting? Devil May Cry, brand new.
I love Devil May Cry.
An old South Park game I found that I kept. Battlefront 2. I got PlayStation 2 games. The Godfather, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the King.
Those were good.
I got both of them. I got Ultimate Alliance. I got.
Do you have the Buffy games?
You know what? I do not, and I wish I did. That was, please, I cry every time I think about it. That was my biggest mistake, was not holding on to that game. It really was.
Frankie, you want to hear something else too? When I worked at one of my jobs, one of my many jobs out here in the entertainment industry, and
sad.
It's going to be very sad because the digital team was part of our team, and they had to purge their closet.
Oh my God.
There were, no joke, at least 50 Buffy games in there.
Unbelievable.
The first one?
First and second.
Oh, first one was so good.
Trash, right?
No, not in the trash. They give away.
Oh, okay.
So other people on the floor, we used to do giveaways every 2 or 3 months, and they would just load everything in the conference room, and then,
people
and
just come in and take what they want.
Let the vultures fly in and grab what they can.
If you knew then what you knew now.
Oh, they'd all be in my house.
Right. Or in my attic sold.
Or in your attic, or sold at this point.
Yeah.
But it's always funny when you watch people, when you offer them something for free. It doesn't matter what it is.
Oh, yeah, no, they'll take it.
You just see the worst in people. Literally, I remember walking around there, and I was looking at a box of T-shirts, and this woman comes running over, and she's like, "That's mine! That's my box!" And I'm like, Jesus! I go, "It's got a couple of Simpson shirts in it." I'm like, "Relax, lady." I'm like, no, or let me rephrase that. Relax, person I've worked with for 2 years.
Yeah, it's disgusting. There's a Buffy game for Game Boy Color.
Yep, yes,
There's a Buffy game for.
I'm sure mobile, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is
actually it was when they were doing the great game purge of 2012 or 13 when I got my hands on the Futurama game for PlayStation 2.
Yes, the game was fun.
And mine is still shrink wrapped.
There you go.
Which was the first Buffy game? Chaos Bleeds?
No, it was the second one.
I think it was just called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, just called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And that was for Xbox.
Yes,
Xbox and PlayStation, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The second one came out on Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah,
it did because I believe Chaos Bleeds that I have is for GameCube.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Much underrated system. Frankie, let me ask you this as well. I know you said you also shop, when you go to the garage sales, you shop for yourself, which is good. Do you ever buy a game that maybe it's more do you buy them with the sole intent to play, or do you buy them almost to display, almost like a piece of art or something like that? Because some games I've bought are really more strictly for display.
No, they go right in the cabinet, never to be seen again.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Yeah.
To collect in value.
Yeah.
I find I do that when I go to Japan. When I go to Japan, if there's a really beautiful cover, I bought the Final Fantasy games for Famicom and Super Famicom in Japan, and I only bought them because the box art was beautiful. I mean, I can never play those games because I can't read kanji, so, but they're pretty.
The 2 Sega CD games I have Sonic CD and Shining Force 3. I don't have a Sega CD, so
which I still hate you for, by the way,
for display. And if I ever get my hands on on Shining Force 3, the US version, that's my holy grail.
Yes, that's my holy grail. Specifically because I've always wanted to play it.
Oh yeah.
So Frankie, if you ever come across a Shining Force 3,
Force 3
for Saturn.
Yeah, for Sega Saturn.
Remember who's your friend.
You know who to call. You call your friend who owns a Sega Saturn.
Remember whose house he came to when we ordered that giant crate of HeroClix and had a good time. And whose parents treated you like one of their own.
I don't think I was invited to that one.
What are you talking? What? You were there? How could I forget?
Frankie knows where his bread is buttered.
Yeah, what Anthony said, I should have died that day or something. I heard that podcast. I heard that comment.
Wait. Verdi, you talking about?
Yeah, Verdi. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, wait a minute. I've never wished death upon you. What the hell?
Look, it got ugly. We were getting uniques. Things got crazy.
I barely remember, to be honest with you.
Rippo still stole my Joker unique, and I've never gotten over it.
Oh, you'll never.
I still have it.
I sold a lot of them. I think I sold them all, actually.
Did you?
I still have all of my HeroClix.
I don't know where mine are.
Yeah. I got enough stuff that I like to keep for myself. It was time to get rid of certain things that I'm never going to look at.
Understandable. And speaking of, Frankie, when you come across any video games that you buy and want to turn over, I know you've done this for me sometimes, but always let us know, because you may actually just wind up selling them to us.
I will. I definitely will. Next time something comes in, or I look for stuff, or when I pick things up, Is there a holy grail that you're looking for when you're out there shopping, or maybe for yourself? I'm talking like maybe video game wise. Nah, it is not.
Okay.
I thought I wanted a PSP for a while, and I got one. I was kind of searching for that, and somebody had one and actually gave me one. There's no really holy grail, nothing that I could think of.
He has no love.
No, there's no love. It's all about the dollar.
That's it. That's
the
all.
Almighty dollar.
Yeah, tax free, cash in hand. Can't go wrong.
Tax free. That's what you want to say on the
air. That's like mob money.
It's the garage sale law. It's totally legal.
Garage
Larry.
sale law.
Garage sale. I love it.
You're laughing, thinking it's a joke, but it's
I believe you.
True.
No. You're absolutely right, because if it's cash, it goes right in your pocket.
There you go. All right, so Frankie, thank you.
You are quite welcome. Thanks for having me on, guys. I think that's my cue that I got to go.
Yeah, we're kicking you off now because, every other Messina, all you do is talk. So
it's your wow. See, this is why I'm the host of the show, because I'm strangely enough, I'm the nice one.
What?
Frankie, I would never kick you off of anything.
Yeah, well, Anthony answers my phone calls and texts me back.
Oh,
Larry,
All right, you call me when I'm working and when I'm in the car.
Right.
I know. Larry, let's be honest.
He calls me when I'm in meetings, and I pick up the phone and leave.
He does.
What?
I'm like, excuse me, I got to take this. I go outside, Frankie, what's up?
Insanity.
And tomorrow I'm fired. Frankie, thank you so much for being on our 100th episode.
Guys, thank you. I appreciate it.
Like Larry said, we may not have been able to make it this far without you.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no, you were good stuff. And Frankie, we got to get out there. I don't know, maybe one day when Anthony heads out over here, we'll head towards your neck of the woods if possible. Yep. There's a couple good spots out. I'm dying to hit that Yestercade like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, next time I visit, we got to hit that up. Oh, and Frankie, Comic-Con next year in San Diego.
You going to try it for next year? You going to try?
I'm getting one because I found out I can get a business pass through my office.
Well, you said that you may be able to get that this year, and
but it was too late. It was too late when I looked, but I can definitely get it for next year. And not only can I get it for next year, it comes with an extra pass.
I just dropped everything that was in my hand.
Frankie, I'll tell you right now, he already gave me a solid no when I asked. So.
Oh wow.
No, but I would, of course. It means more to Frankie, of course.
This has been Frankie's dream for a very long time.
Yeah, well, my beautiful wife, she attempted to get us tickets this year, right? That was my wedding gift, and we lost the cutoff date, and because I wasn't paying attention, I think, and we didn't get. Wasn't able to get tickets.
Yeah, so
life gets in the way of things. But,
it does, sure. But you know what? as long as my business pass goes through and all that stuff, we're covered for next year.
I'm going to try and sign up for it also, see if we can get tickets, just in
And then
case.
and then you can sell them for a higher price at a garage sale.
Or to me.
There you
Or
go.
to Larry. We're just going to invade. We're going to invade Comic-Con next year.
I like it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Guys, thanks for having me. Anthony, I'll give you a call later, and we'll discuss the Sega CD.
All right, that sounds good.
And
All right, guys.
I'll call you to chit chat.
I will up my amount to $5.
$5. Got to go a little higher. Larry?
$6.
I'm good.
I'm good. All right,
Sold.
guys. Have fun tonight.
Thanks.
Enjoy your day.
You too.
All right. We're back.
Are we back?
We are, and this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt because
Damn right this is going to hurt.
for 100 episodes, as you hear, there's another voice on. For 100 episodes, we've been talking about it. Anthony's been bashing it for more than 100 episodes. He's been bashing it for, I guess, almost 20 years. And now...
Ever since I stuck my eyes in it and was scarred for life.
Set it up on your dining room table. You looked in and you said, nope, this is not good.
You're lucky it didn't wind up in the trash then.
And now this is the first time we got both of them on. So back on the show, former co-host and the person who really gave life to hashtag VB Sucks.
Pound sign.
Yes.
Charlie, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. And Larry, why don't you tell the audience what
What do you see, Larry?
Boy, one's clearly been through the wash than the other one. It is the hashtag VB Sucks shirt that is available right now at teechip.com. Go there for all your retro gamers and VB Sucks merchandise. So yeah,
Charlie, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I can't complain. We're pretty spry for 100. So we've been going down memory lane, and I'm looking forward to this segment more than any other segment on our 100th episode.
Oh, me too. Now, being the co-host of episode 94, which of course is a wonderful number for you and me, Anthony. Best year ever.
Yes, it is.
I've been listening since the first. Also,
Rangers, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. We can't beat you, but we can beat everybody else.
It's true and sad.
Yeah. Go figure.
Oh well, that's okay. Both teams will suck next season.
I think the Rangers are going to do better than anyone thinks.
They may surprise. They always do well in the video games that I play, but usually I'm the Rangers. So.
Oh, except for that one time at the Retro Gaming Expo, and I shall have my revenge. There's a dish
Blades of Steel. I whooped you.
So at the skating rink that Mary goes and ice skates at, they have an arcade console of Blades of Steel. The only problem is it doesn't work.
That's
fixed.
Well,
tell me about it.
My only hockey thing will be screw the Maple Leafs. So, Charlie, you've been a
hockey fan long enough to make that declaration.
I have. I'm going into my third season of season tickets.
Yeah, but that's only because they're right by you.
No, they're not. They're in Brooklyn.
That's because the Islanders. The question is, which one's worth less, the Islander season tickets or a Virtual Boy?
Oh, they didn't even let me get started here. Holy cow! Already the barbs. This is gonna hurt, folks.
And I'd hate to give a compliment to the Islanders, but we do know what the answer is: the Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
The Islanders are a wonderful organization. So, Charlie, you've been listening, like you said, pretty much since day one. My introduction to you was, I think you're the reason why my Virtual Boy broke at last year's Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, as I thought you would just, because I didn't know who you were, and here's this gentleman running over to the table, grabbing my Virtual Boy, and practically running away with it.
VB Sucks.
That's true, too. But I didn't know where it was coming from. It was chaos.
Yeah.
A lot was happening at once.
Yes, it was. And that is why I will know. Well, I did post that Doghouse Gaming in Quakertown, which is only about 45 minutes south of me, has one.
Yes. No, that you did.
Yeah.
So, but no, you've definitely been an integral part of the show. Like I said,
Well, and what's awesome about this is that this is going to be monumental for Charlie and me, because
let's finish the whole story. Okay,
Yes.
So we all know how much Larry's infatuated with Virtual Boy. Hell, at the expo he said he was going to play with it in bed, and I just left it at that. So
at that
the
point,
story
when you grabbed it, you should have just thrown it.
no, I wasn't going to do that to him because at the time I actually wanted to see him get one, but then he accused me of breaking it, and now the tables have turned. So now I have to find. Yeah.
Yep. See,
yeah. Well,
see, Larry, see how easy it is to make enemies in life.
although I will admit I will be upset if this thing actually does get destroyed in front of him. I will actually. I might be a little upset for it, although I'll probably be sipping the whiskey as you do it. So.
Oh well, Charlie. I mean, if you happen to be in New York that day when it happens.
Oh yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, you need to witness it.
Oh, I'm there.
You definitely need to witness it.
I will be the one. I will be the cameraman while you're destroying it, a la Office Space, while Larry is crying in the corner.
Oh man, this is going to be
assuming
epic.
you win.
Yeah,
assuming
I win. That is
Assuming
true.
you win.
And actually, we're actually gonna tally our current totals in our next segment. So when you listen to the 100th episode on Tuesday, you'll be able to find out exactly where we both stand.
Exactly.
I have high hopes. High hopes.
And speaking
so did
of
the makers of the Virtual Boy.
and on that note, and when I say that note, I mean this ultra low note. I think we need to segue right into the retro reject for this week. And if you haven't figured it out, I think we've said it 3 times already. This week's retro reject is on none other than the Virtual Boy.
100 episodes, scathed it, because I'm going to pull the curtain back. I don't normally know what the reject is going to be, or the spotlight sometimes when we were doing it. The show's evolved over 100 episodes. But Anthony's been kind enough to put the Virtual Boy, on the side. Don't touch it. But I guess now for episode 100, it's time to break out the big guns.
Oh yeah, no, this one has definitely earned it. So
I'll point out the positives, folks. Don't worry. I'll be here.
That less than 1 million of them were sold.
Point counterpoint.
Okay, Larry, point out the positives right now.
Has two.
That's it.
Two
that was
of
it.
them.
That was all of them. That was all of them right there. Thank you.
I'm just going to throw it to you two on this one. This is easy for me.
All right, here we go. Okay, so the Virtual Boy, which if you do not know at this point, you haven't been listening at all. So the Virtual Boy was manufactured by Nintendo. And you know what? I mean, what I like about the Retro Rejects is to say also is we also learn stuff too. So, and there are actually some interesting things in the history of the Virtual Boy. Even though it's the most reviled system in existence.
Real quick before you get into it, just super fast. Charlie, have you ever actually tried it? The Virtual Boy?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And never shoot you.
His eyes have never been...
Well, you were going to let me try it at the expo. We couldn't find a plug at the table.
This is true. All right.
Yeah.
But then it was broken anyway, so it's not like I would have been able to experience it anyway. So that's probably a sign that it's a good thing that I didn't.
Actually, it probably runs better broken.
I think you were about to start the subject
Yes,
matter.
I was. I'm sorry. Okay, so the Virtual Boy, manufactured by Nintendo. Its original release date was July 21st, 1995 in Japan. In the U.S., it came out a few weeks later, August 14th, 1995.
Okay.
So actually, this week is the 23rd anniversary of the release of the Virtual Boy. Right on our 100th episode.
Boo!
Now, the better date to note is that it was discontinued by Japan on December 22nd, 1995, giving it a shelf life of exactly 5 months and 1 day.
They didn't even allow the Christmas rush.
Wow.
That's like canceling a new television show after the pilot.
And some of those go down in infamy. Like, could have been a good pilot.
Yeah, but they were canceled after one episode because it sucked. Moving on. The Virtual Boy was discontinued in the United States March 2nd of 96, so it actually had a longer shelf life in the U.S. than it did in Japan, which is interesting.
That's because we were slow to realize how crappy it was.
Well, Americans, I'll admit it, Americans may be a little bit slower than the Japanese because Japanese are always a cutting-edge technology. So we just
For example, the original Super Mario Brothers 2, it was deemed too hard for us Americans.
That's right. So they didn't release it here. Instead, we got that crappy one where you pick up turnips and throw them at things.
I think they were they were turnips and radishes. I actually had that debate with somebody one day because we were trying to figure out how to get the stopwatch, and it was like 5 radishes, no 5 turnips. Wait, what's the big one? But for the record, as everyone, the original Super Mario 2 is my favorite one in the
series
franchise, and I'm the one who posts the random pictures of me playing it, like when I had Luigi on top of Bowser above the bricks in World 7-4.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
you should definitely do a playthrough online. That would be fun.
Oh, when you come out east, you can come be the cameraman while I do it.
Sounds like a plan.
That's what I'm saying. He wants to get paid.
That's right. All right, back to
you mean paid like that goddamn HDMI cord?
So what else you got on the Virtual Boy there, my friend?
All right, so back to the Virtual Boy, which was not available on HDMI. As Charlie, thank God, as Charlie said earlier, it did sell under 1 million units. The total number of units sold was 770,000 worldwide, not just in Japan, not just in the U.S., really? Worldwide. Yeah, and the system was only released in Japan and the U.S. No other country wanted it.
Aw.
I know.
Wait, what do you mean didn't want it? I think it was more just the marketing didn't get to it.
No, I think, you know what? I mean, Estonia looked at it and just said, no, thank you. Luxembourg was like, I'll pass.
Oh, Morocco.
Mongolia wouldn't even allow it into the country. Couldn't get past the borders. Anyway, but just to give you an idea on the how this was segmented in terms of sales, of the 770,000 units, 630,000 were sold in Japan, and only 140,000 were sold in the U.S.
And all of them were returned within 24 hours because it just sucked that bad.
Not all of them.
Yeah. Okay, except for Larry's, which is now sitting somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Ouch! Ouch! No, it's in a heap somewhere because someone was a hero during Hurricane Sandy and took everyone's garbage.
Well, if you just think about it, like somebody who goes like snorkeling or deep sea diving, if they lose their mask, they can find a replacement somewhere. What's this red mask here at the bottom of the ocean?
It's probably sitting next to one of the old submerged redbirds off the coast too.
Okay, so anyway,
welcome to episode 100, people. Everything's floating at the bottom of the ocean.
Okay, so to start with the actual inception of the Virtual Boy, which I pointed out was released in 1995, we actually have to go back 10 years to 1985, which means that Doc and Marty could have actually stopped this from happening. So in 1985, there was a red LED eyepiece display technology invented called scanned linear array, and it was developed by a Massachusetts-based technology company.
Okay.
That company was the one who produced a 3D stereoscopic head tracking prototype called the Private Eye. And that was actually the inception of the Virtual Boy. It was called the Private Eye, and it featured a tank game. And it was the first. It was basically their way of pitching to video game companies about the possibility of creating a 3D video game. Now, they pitched it at the Consumer Electronics Market that year, and they initially pitched it to toy companies like Mattel and Hasbro. They passed. And then they tried pitching it to Sega. Sega passed because they thought the single color display was an issue because games were coming out in full color at the time. Mm-hmm. This one was just working in one color. And they were also concerned that people were going to get motion sickness from it. because you're constantly moving your head around with the whatever you were in there. In that case, you were a tank. So when the Private Eye was pitched to Nintendo, they actually got excited about it. So at the time, the general manager of research and development at Nintendo, I'm going to butcher his name. I'm sorry. I apologize if you're still alive. Gunpei Yokoi, or Yokoi, I don't know, who, by the way, invented the Game & Watch and the Game Boy.
Yes.
So this guy was actually... Yeah, I mean, this guy was a big... Yeah, Meatloaf sang a song about that.
He sang some concert, though.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this guy, this guy's definitely like, one of the big guys over at Nintendo. I mean, at the time in '85, he had it in the Virtual Boy. The Game Boy, I'm saying, wasn't out yet, but the Game & Watch consoles were successful. The Game Boy, one of the most successful handhelds in the history of video games.
I still have mine.
There you go. I still have one.
My daughter loves playing it.
There you go. Tetris was the best on the Game Boy.
Yes,
agreed.
Time.
Yeah. So when I'm just gonna call him Gunpei. I don't know. When Gunpei saw this, he got excited about it. Started doing research and development on it because Nintendo always wanted to be ahead of the game. And if they thought 3D technology was going to be the next step of gaming eventually, they wanted to be first. So when they started developing the Virtual Boy, it was developed under the code name. Larry, do you know the code name of what the Virtual Boy was called? Come on. You're the Virtual Boy expert.
I don't remember. I want to say like Virtual 64, but no. Oh, no.
Time's up. We'll give you a consolation prize, a decent system. So the code name of the project was VR32.
Oh, I was close. It
was VR32. It was at that time. It was actually shifted over to Nintendo's third research and development team. They had multiple research and development teams. The major I'm sorry, my mistake. RD3 was actually working on the N64 at the same time. So they had the N64 in the works at the same time the Virtual Boy was in the works.
Okay.
4 years. It took 4 years to develop the actual system itself. And according to the article I read, it took them that long to get the VR32 vision into an affordable and health-conscious console design.
Makes sense.
Testing was an issue. Now, they chose the color red because it was the cheapest.
The other thing about red also, against a dark background, the eyes adjust easily to red. That's why on the R160s and the 142, basically the new tech trains in the New York City Transit system, that's why the front signs above the cab door are black with the red.
Oh,
yep.
Wow. Who knew we would be connecting the New York Transit system with the Virtual Boy? My mind is blown. My mind is blown.
Human anatomy and physiology.
Wow.
Yes, a little bit of three.
Well,
all have wonderful histories.
Yes.
Except for the Virtual Boy.
Except. Infamy, not history. So, and to your point, what you were just saying, red on black, like, to your point, they were saying when you were looking at the red on black, it actually gave you that sense of infinite depth, and that's what was creating the 3D element to it. Any other color, if they had released it with a color LCD system, which they did try to do when they were testing, the system itself would have cost over $500. And in 1995, that's a lot of money.
It didn't stop 3DO or Neo Geo.
Yeah, that's true. Well, today I won't pay $500 for a system, and it's 2018. You can't imagine anybody would pay for it back in 1995. But then again, people didn't pay for it anyway. So now the other thing to keep in mind, and this is something I learned from all my trips to Japan, the Japanese people get motion sickness very easily. They actually have I don't know. I don't understand exactly what it is. Whenever we're designing...
the Godzilla tremors?
It could be. Whenever I'm designing... When I'm designing theme park stuff, the motion portion of it is always taken into account because Japanese people get motion sickness really easily. It's a lot, and rides that we develop, we actually have to scale back the intensity of them specifically for the Japanese market.
It's interesting.
Now, with the Virtual Boy, this was a big deal. So Japan, the actual country, in 1995, released the Product Liability Act, which meant that video game companies were actually going to be held responsible for making things that would make people sick.
Jeez.
So as a result of that, Nintendo had to eliminate the head tracking functionality. You know how the PlayStation VR is a headset that you put on?
I sure do. I'm staring at it right now.
Yeah, that's what the Virtual Boy was supposed to be. But because of the Product Liability Act in '95 that came out, that's when Nintendo decided to mount the Virtual Boy onto the stand because they didn't want to be liable for motion sickness.
Yeah, that would be crazy. It also would make sense as to why you call it a Virtual Boy.
I guess so. Let's say, okay, so moving on. Now we're getting to the point, we're getting to E3 and the Consumer Electronics Show in 95. Now in 94, all they showed was the startup screen, basically. They showed a prototype and a startup screen for the Virtual Boy. Now it's 95, E3, CES come up. They show a 30-second clip of one of their games called Driving Demo. I don't know if Larry, or maybe Driving Demo was just a demo. I don't know.
I think it was just a demo. Yeah,
it was just a demo. It wasn't a game. But the demo was supposed to be a Star Fox game showing an R-Wing doing things. But for some odd reason, they couldn't create it in time, so they just went with a simple driving demo. And then after E3, they were very confident. Now, their sales projections after E3 were 3 million units in Japan and 14 million units by March of 96. That's what they told the press. We expect to sell 14 million units within the first 9 months.
Charles, you think that was a little off? Shooting for the moon.
Past the moon, and yeah, just no.
Shooting for the moon. They shot for friggin' Krypton.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
We are shooting for a fictional planet in a DC comic.
What were you saying, Charlie?
I'm trying to figure out a Uranus joke in there, but I can't.
That's where they should have shoved these things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
we're not holding back on 100, people. Good Lord.
All right. So anyway, this part I love also. So now the Virtual Boy is about to get released, but at the same time, the Nintendo 64 is being designed at Nintendo. So there was actually like an internal competition between the two systems.
Oh, like who would get it done first?
Not so much who would get it done first, but which one was going to wind up being better.
Gotcha. Well,
we all know how that. We all know how that's true. But apparently, because the N64 was being developed and it was doing so well, Shigeru Miyamoto, this is a story that somebody got, actually asked Gunpei to downscale the console sales. Like they wanted to downscale it in the market so they can focus on the N64 because they knew they were more confident the N64 was going to be a hit. So Nintendo sold the Virtual Boy at it was $179.95 when it came out. So $180, which at the time was actually kind of expensive for a system.
Yeah.
Because
I remember that.
Yeah. So, well, you got to remember, this was considered a handheld console. This wasn't considered an actual system. So,
but you still need a table to play it.
Yeah, exactly. You still needed a table to play it, but it was technically considered a handheld console. And as a result, when it came out for $180, it was considered high for a handheld. It was cost a lot more than the Game Boy. Game Boy was nowhere near $180.
Yeah, Game Boy was $100 in 1992.
Really? It was only $100 when it came out?
Yeah, 1992
Wow.
was $100.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I bought mine from Consumers on 86th Street and 24th Avenue after I graduated elementary school in 1992.
There you go.
And it still worked.
The only game I bought from Consumers was Mario Paint.
Mario Paint. I have a soft spot for that game. So, anyway, Virtual Boy was released July 21st, 1995 in Japan, August 16th, 95 in North America. Launch titles were Mario's Tennis, Red Alarm, Telero Boxer. I don't even know how you would say that. And Galactic Pinball, which Larry has two. Larry has two Virtual Boy games and no Virtual Boy, which I love.
No, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 Virtual Boy games. One in box. Galactic Pinball is in box.
Yep. Well, anyway,
And you still have nothing to play it on.
Yeah. And Mario's Tennis was actually a pack-in game with the Virtual Boy.
Game, yes.
And here's another little tidbit that I read online. Now, I don't know how true this is, but Shinjiro Miyamoto, when the system was coming out, actually told Gunpei Yokoi not to use any Mario characters for any games. They did not he literally requested that they not use Mario in any games on the Virtual Boy. So we already kind of know where this. I think they kind of knew where this was headed before it even got on shelf.
How do you have a Nintendo system without Mario?
I don't know. Ask the GameCube. Remember, it came out with Luigi's Mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but that was.
But Mario and Luigi are brothers, so that really doesn't count.
And about time Luigi got his...
Well, you know what? I mean, yeah, but Mario and Stanley are cousins, and nobody talks about Stanley.
Stanley.
I actually have Donkey Kong 3 on Nintendo, and yeah, there's a reason why they don't talk about Stanley.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was a creep.
To go back to the games, though, and I mentioned this with Charlie when he was on the show while you were gallivanting across the globe. You know, two of the best games, in my opinion, were on the Virtual Boy.
Mm-hmm. And they were?
Mario Clash and Wario Land.
And you are the only person who's ever played them.
But I'm telling you, if you played it, if you would play it, you would see how awesome. Mario Clash...
Defend your position.
I'm about to. Here I go. No, plaintiff, whatever. So, with Mario Clash was more a version of Mario Brothers, kind of, sort of. And look, everyone knows I hate the original Mario Brothers. I'm not a fan of that game. But Mario Clash just put it in that 3D aspect, which worked out well. You still had to hit, all the Koopas and whatnots with the shells, but now you can throw them across, and that 3D aspect was really cool. And the gameplay was just simple and straightforward. So that simple game, pick up and play, good. Wario Land on Virtual Boy is a fantastic platformer, especially with the depth, which, look, the 3DS nowadays has got it locked with these type of games. And why there wasn't, and yes, here we go, lobbing the ball up, everyone getting ready to hit it out of the park. I don't know why they never released the Virtual Boy Virtual Console on the 3DS, because it would have been perfect.
How the hell are you going to play it?
3DS. 3D.
Yeah, 3DS is actually 3D. The problem is, though, how many kids want to play a game that's just all red and a bunch of lines? And
yeah, I'm actually watching a video of it on YouTube right now.
Just one more thing, and then I'll let you continue. That argument about wanting to play it all red, the Game Boy was green.
Yeah, but that was the Game Boy. That was the original Game Boy. I'm talking about kids today. I'm not talking about
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
us,
for like a retro release, it's something. But I'm talking about like how many people are you actually going to sell it to?
Hold on.
Is it worth spending the money to develop it, to release it on the 3DS, to only go after a really tiny market?
Yeah. And plus, the Game Boy, the Game Boy was only one color, but you got to remember, it was also revolutionary for its time. So the thing about, the Virtual Boy, by that time, it should have been more colors by then, so that argument's kind of moot.
Yeah, plus, hashtag VB sucks.
Pound sign.
VB sucks.
What I was going to say was, there is a ton of Game Boy games on the Virtual Console on the 3DS, so kids are already playing.
I have a few of them.
in black and white. At that point, well, you can put it
Very
into
true.
green, but black and white. So, the red is what it is. But continue on. I want to hear.
I was like, I really want to get back to my story, if you don't mind. And this is it's like a fairy tale. You know how fairy tales always have a lesson at the end of them. Like I want to get into the
Virtual Boy because I just watched 30 seconds of Mario Clash on YouTube and I had to shut it off.
Oh, stop it!
I know Virtual Boys have been known to cause epilepsy.
Well, there's a giant warning when you turn it on.
No, not seizures. It actually gives you epilepsy.
Oh. All games do. Continue.
So anyway, so Virtual Boy was released with Mario's Tennis as a packing game, despite Shigeru Miyamoto's, was vehemently against it. Like I said before, Nintendo originally thought 3 million consoles would be sold in the beginning. However, when the system was released, it was released after Sony and Panasonic and Sega had their next generation systems on the market. So even though it was a lower price, PlayStation, Saturn, and I don't even remember, what was the Panasonic one? Was that the 3DO?
Yes.
Yeah,
because Philips was CDI. Yeah, 3DO.
Right, Philips was CDI. So you had three major consoles already competing in the market, and then out comes the Virtual Boy. So timing for this was actually not very good either. So by the end of 1995, Nintendo had shipped a total of 350,000 units of the Virtual Boy.
Okay.
In the U.S. 350,000. Okay?
I think that's a healthy number.
Right. So the system. But out of the 350,000, only 130,000 were sold, which means there are 220,000 of these probably in a ditch somewhere, a la E.T. from the the Atari days.
I was about to say that too, Anthony.
Yeah. So Larry, if you go scouring America, and if I were you, I'd start in Seattle because that's where Nintendo of America is. You may actually find a dump site with a bunch of Virtual Boys buried,
or a warehouse.
That might actually be responsible for the fault line that we have on the West Coast. Like I said, by March, the last official title that was released on the Virtual Boy was 3D Tetris, and that was on March 22nd, 1996. Now, despite how awful this thing sold, Nintendo actually had the nerve to show up to E3 in 96 announcing new games for the system, hoping people would buy it even though they discontinued it.
Really?
Because they were literally trying to clear the shelves.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They were just trying to clear the shelves. So, and strangely enough, in December of '96, so this is a year after the system was discontinued, there were actually 13,000 units sold in the month of December '96. I don't know why.
There you go.
That's for Christmas gifts for the relatives you don't like.
I guess so. I was like, it was basically the fruitcake of '96.
Yeah.
Don't know. Now that's...
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
Okay.
I think you just created a phenomenon.
Okay.
Sending you fruitcakes on Christmas?
Yeah. All right. So that's the long story of the Virtual Boy. Now I have a few little like tidbits and things to throw out. As we know, 22 games were released within its lifespan. All right, only 22, and I can actually run through them because it's such a short list. All right. So here we go. Galactic Pinball,
Fun.
Golf,
Fun.
Innsmouth no Yakata. I think that was Japan.
That's
only.
a rare one.
Jack Brothers, Mario Clash,
Awesome.
Mario's Tennis, Nestor's Funky Bowling,
Never had that one.
3D Tetris. I said.
Fun.
Panic Bomber, Red Alarm, SD Gundam Dimension War. Japan only. Space Invaders Virtual Collection, Japan only.
Oh, yeah.
Space Squash, Japan only.
Okay.
You wanted to play 3D Squash. Telero Boxer, V Tetris, Vertical Force, Virtual Bowling, Virtual Boy Wario Land, Virtual Fishing, Virtual Lab, Virtual League Baseball, and Water World.
Well, you had to have your one movie tie-in, so why not put Waterworld
They had
on
it. Okay.
A bad movie and a bad console. I guess it goes hand in hand.
Yep. Moving on to one other thing. This was my favorite quote that I found online for the Virtual Boy.
Shinjiro Miyamoto.
Quote, "But who will buy it? It's not portable. It's awkward to use. It's 100% antisocial, unlike multiplayer Super Nintendo and Genesis games. It's too expensive, and more importantly, the VR, quote unquote, doesn't add to the game at all. It's just a novelty." End quote.
Do you have who said that?
No.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'll agree with him with the VR.
Anthony Rippo.
I'll agree with him with the VR aspect.
Right. Now, despite all the Virtual Boy bashing, the Virtual Boy has made a few cameos over the years. Because as we know, Nintendo is great with callbacks. So even when stuff fails, they manage to do something with it. So the Virtual Boy makes a cameo appearance in a GameCube game. Larry, do you remember which GameCube game the Virtual Boy shows up in?
I want to say Animal Crossing?
No. Well, there is an Animal Crossing where it does show up. On the GameCube, it's actually Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Oh, of course.
It can be seen on the shelves in the trophy collection if the game's language is set to Japanese. So they only put it into yes.
Huh.
The console also cameoed in the Wii U game Game & Wario.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. To your point, in Animal Crossing New Leaf, the Virtual Boy is a furniture prize that can be obtained from a fortune cookie.
Ah, very cool. That's how I got mine originally.
Yeah. And the fortune actually reads, "I see much red in your future, much red indeed."
Red of anger, red of disappointment, red of despair.
Exactly. So, in Super Smash Brothers Brawl, all of the games that were manufactured for the Virtual Boy in North America appear in the form of a list within the Chronicles section.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, in the Simpsons game, during the intro cutscene to the level Bartman Begins, while Bart goes to Sequel Stop to order a copy of Grand Theft Scratchy, there's a poster of the Virtual Boy that reads, "Have you seen me?"
Really? In the Simpsons game, which I don't think was released on a Nintendo console. It may have been on GameCube.
That's correct.
I had that on PS3. I gotta go check that out.
Yeah. Okay, that's the end of the Retro Reject for the Virtual Boy, which to me has definitely been one of my most favorite retro spotlights, Retro Reject ever. However, as fate would have it, Charlie,
Anthony,
there's actually a bit of Virtual Boy news in 2018.
What?
Nintendo's Virtual Boy is getting a revival thanks to an emulator for the Oculus Rift VR headset.
Right. I may have to get an Oculus Rift. Charlie, you in with me?
So, Jay Mattis, who's the founder of an indie game developing company called High Horse Entertainment, has released the VB Gin emulator for the Oculus Rift headset, allowing users to play Virtual Boy games using modern VR technology.
I like that.
Yeah.
About time.
But this is the part that I like, though.
Oh.
The emulator contains two modes. One where the screen is fixed and static, like the original Virtual Boy. And the other where the screen exists in its own world, so you can move closer and further away from the display, so you don't have to...
the PS4 does that.
Keep it stuck. Yeah, so you don't got to keep it stuck. So Larry, you may actually get some Virtual Boy play. You just have to buy yourself an Oculus Rift for $10 million.
An investment.
I don't think that would count towards the contest, though.
No, it definitely wouldn't.
No, it doesn't.
Although I try to make it count.
Nah, you can't.
So Charlie, was that everything you ever hoped for, and then some?
No,
now you're disappointed.
No, well.
Are you disappointed like the Virtual Boy?
Yeah, well.
Do you want a Virtual Boy?
I have no desire for a Virtual Boy. I mean, hell, it's probably still sitting on the shelf at the place I sent you guys as to where it's being currently sold right now.
I'll tell you this much. I'm really looking forward to owning my Virtual Boy. For the 20 seconds I'll have it.
Damn it. Whatever.
It's going to be like that scene in Office Space. Although I probably could get you a bulldozer if you really wanted one.
No.
Wait. No, Charlie, are you serious? Can you get me a bulldozer?
I got friends who have farms.
Oh, man. Charlie, you just upped the game. Because not only will I get to destroy it with the sledgehammer, I get to roll over the little pieces with the bulldozer?
Possibly.
All right, we got to talk.
Charlie, thank you for being on the show this week for episode 100.
Well, Anthony, you have to win the contest first.
Oh, trust me, I'm going to win it now.
We're going to find out in a little while. One final thing on my end, and Charlie, don't worry, I will edit this part out, that I promise you, but I just want to confirm. You're still at...
Yes.
He sent you an HDMI cable.
It's about time.
Literally just ordered it.
Guaranteed delivery July 24th, it said.
How long is the cable?
10-foot cable.
Okay, we're good then.
Yeah, I will say, Charlie, that seeing your NES Mini or your Famicom Mini just hanging from the wall, not cool, man.
Well,
but I get it. It's how you got a game right now.
Yeah, right now, because I also lost the original. I couldn't find the original plug for it, so I have a very long USB cable because the power cord's the same as a Android phone cord.
Yes, it is.
So
that's
I have
a
a
cool
10-foot
thing.
cord for that to run to the plug. So,
well, there you go. Expect it in the mail. Congratulations.
Thank you. Only took a year.
You know, those things are expensive. Wait.
So, Charlie, thank you very much for being on the show.
You had a better chance of getting a Virtual Boy before you getting the HDMI cable.
I actually probably could. I could probably just go drive 20 minutes south, half an hour south right now and go get it.
And you know what, Charlie? I wanted to share this with you, and it is retro game related. I was going through my old PC games because I've had this thing for like 20 years.
Okay.
And I have, for Mac and PC, the complete history of the New York Rangers as of 1996.
Oh wow, Charlie's got. I've never seen his eyes that wide open before.
You've never seen me in front of a topless redhead, then.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not going to say anything.
That's where episode 105 will be as we record live from Spanky's.
No. I also have the PC version of NHL 96. That's how I used to play this. Yep.
Nice.
Rangers won the cup in this game.
Yay!
Yay! They win it in every cup. But anyway,
Yay!
Charlie, do you have any parting words?
Nah. But
Good.
well,
Sure.
I gotta say, I enjoy the podcast. Thank you for having me twice. I will definitely come back again. Obviously,
We would love to have you.
Oh yes, and when you come back east, guys, come on up on a Saturday. I got the systems. We can go, between all the farmers markets and yard sales and crap down here and the retro game stores around here. You guys would make a killing.
I'm making a vow to come up there when I'm visiting for Christmas.
Yeah.
There we go. And maybe I'll take along as well.
We'll make it happen. Awesome. Larry will come with me. He'll sleep on the floor.
And I got the butcher right down the street, so you can get some good bacon.
Ooh.
And you know what? And when we come, you'll get the bulldozer.
Possibly. Well, that depends. When does the contest end?
Technically, the contest ends on December 31st. We did do a solid year, but I think by the time we get to Christmas, I think it should already be.
It's like a mercy rule.
Yeah,
you gotta go year to year. That's what the deal was.
I understand that, but I think the mercy rule is actually going to come out in the next segment of this show.
We'll see.
Stay tuned. Charlie, thank you very much for being one of our biggest supporters, one of our biggest fans. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Keep up the good work. And #VB sucks.
Right.
All right, we're back. We're moving along here with episode 100. Two big-time segments, two big-time guests, fans of the show, Frankie and Charlie. And now, Ant, we have a gentleman who, quite frankly, I think while we record is the bane of my existence. I love him otherwise. He's an amazing
He is my favorite person in 2018. Like, if I can give him one of those sashes, like, Miss Universe wears, like, I would give him one.
All right. I want to see that now. For some reason, I want to see him in a sash. I don't know why.
And nothing else.
We're not going to go that far because I already have issues with his broadcast partner on a different show. So I'd like to introduce right now, from Victims and Villains, from the PS Midnight Cast, from our pod brotherhood, Josh, who probably is the one person who's been on this show more
than anybody
else besides us two. Josh, welcome back.
Hello, Captain Nostalgia.
What's up? So I actually had to stay. This is really challenging to stay quiet during that introduction. And
why were you that excited about the idea of the sash?
Yeah, I am. And like, there's nothing stopping you. I mean,
no, there's a lot stopping me, but that's besides the point.
So I'll get a sash that says like Miss Retro Gamer 2018.
Dude, you do it, and I will wear it for a month in every YouTube video that we do.
Okay. All right. So wait, I have to look this up right now.
Crikey.
Let's see. Contest sash.
And I will link this episode and your shop in our descriptions.
Oh man.
Oh,
okay.
for all future episodes for a little while.
Just for the sash episodes.
Of course.
Okay. I have a friend who does like scrapbooking and stuff like that, and she makes things. So I may have to call in a favor. That might be my birthday gift for this year.
Dang it. Josh, 100 episodes we're at, and I gotta say, you, Victims and Villains, have been a huge part of the show, of the network, of a lot of things that we do. And first and foremost, I think I speak for Anthony when I say, thank you very much for definitely, coming along for the ride here for majority of the episodes. Because I think we met you early on, I think.
Yeah, I met you guys right around 18 or 19 or something like that. And I think our first crossover was with you guys. You guys were like doing it was somewhere between like 25 and 30. Yeah. And so we've been friends for a while. Yep. And, first off, congratulations on turning 100. And we got to have you guys on for our 100th episode and talking about Phil Hartman and The Simpsons, but I mean, it's like, I feel like this, like, when you would do podcasts, like, what you have as many frequent guests on as we've had on, there are some that you have that'll just be featured on a one-off, and then you have like genuine friendships that we've been able to do through here, and like, it's not just the retro gamers, but like, I've gotten to know a lot of the friends that you guys have, and whether it's, Anthony Chu over at Yin and Yang, or it's Frank with Better Half, it's been this like, it almost feels like I've kind of grown up with you guys through these podcasts, and we've also been able to have these episodes and have these moments where it hasn't just been retro games or hasn't just been pop culture, but it's been depth, whether it was covering eating disorders on our show last year, or Jetsons with Larry, but also pitching and talking ice cream and Friday the 13th with Anthony. I feel like we've been able to
such a blast.
We've been able to do so much more past just this, and I love being able to just be challenged by you guys, because you guys have challenged me in an area of pop culture that I haven't really thought about in years, and I love that. I love being challenged, and it's another avenue and another platform that we've been able to bring awareness of hope and suicide prevention for it. So
absolutely, and you're right. Your show has definitely taken us out of our comfort zone, which is a good thing when we're over on your show. But not only that part, the fun that we've had with, the two of you talking Friday the 13th, me and you talking about the Jetsons, and other times we just kind of if you need a quick like fill-in guest host or something like that, one of us, be more than happy to help out, and likewise, vice versa. I think we've definitely, both shows, and I hope you agree with me, both shows have definitely been able to benefit from each other, and us running into Josh has definitely been one of the better things that has happened to the retro gamers.
Oh yeah, everything happens for a reason, right? There's just something about things that happen in your lives, the debacle that was the Virtual Boy, happened for a reason, and then the greatness that is meeting Josh also happened for a reason. So I couldn't be more thankful to know you, to have guested on your podcast, to have become friends, even though I've never physically met you in person.
I have.
Yes,
and it's a trip. No, it's all good. Actually, we did a not a live podcast, but we recorded a simulcast is what we did at New York Comic Con last year.
Very nice.
Hopefully sometime within the near future we'll be doing it again.
I hope so.
Not at Comic Con, but just we've talked about the idea of just getting together and like doing something, because like we don't live that far apart from each other.
Well, compared to where Anthony lives, you're exactly right. Yeah. We're neighbors.
Hey, I'm not that far. Yeah, I'm far.
You got enough freaking flyer miles.
If Anthony wants to gift us some frequent flyer miles, we can all three of us join up.
I just paid for my tickets out to LA. Trust me, I've tried.
Josh, I will be visiting New York at least two times this year. So coming up, so we'll definitely have to make a point to get together.
Yeah, because it didn't happen last year, which it was cool. I don't know, just circumstances, but yeah, if it happens, let's do it.
Absolutely,
definitely, no question.
And one of the other things I want to kind of get your opinion, because a couple episodes ago, we were talking, me and Anthony kind of took a page out of Victims and Villains. Because Victims and Villains, and for those of you new to the podcast, great show that Josh does over on his network, his neck of the woods. And it's, first of all, it's pop culture, movies, comic books, things like that. But also, Josh has a wonderful, wonderful message, mission, if you will, of suicide prevention, making it aware to all of us. And it's certainly a topic that we always commend you on, Josh, for doing it and presenting it in a way that has that, with the comic books and the movies, has that pop culture tie-in. For those people who may sometimes feel that's a touchy subject, you bring light to it in a way that's presentable to everybody. And we kind of took a page out of your book when we talked about the World Health Organization and gaming disorder, how they want to present this as something new in the World Health Organization. As you mentioned earlier, we've done episodes on your show about eating disorders, about suicide prevention as well, especially in the beginning. And yeah, every time I'm on your show, I'm usually always the one angry and mad at some new take on an old cartoon. So I have anger issues, clearly. But let me ask you, Josh. You and a couple other people said that was one of the better episodes that we've done. Have you ever come across something like the gaming disorder? Have you ever read into it, or happened to come across something about it before you heard the episode? Or even thought it was something that's maybe an issue?
Yeah, I have, actually, because they've been a friend of mine actually has
just real quick, but before we get a little serious, the sash has been ordered. Crying out loud! All right.
So, Josh, we're definitely going to have you back on later this year, because we'll talk about it in our next segment. But everybody will understand why. The sash has been ordered is the most important thing you need to know.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I'm part of one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of they look at how gaming can actually be therapeutic. So how it can actually be an outlet for healing for those that are struggling with anxiety or depression and stuff along those lines. But they've also talked about the negative aspects of it, how it can be addictive, how it can create these tendencies in individuals. And I feel like one of the reasons that I liked your guys' take on it so much was because it was something that I've never heard you guys do before. So it was something, in your neck of the woods, something that, was a change from this is what I bought this week, this is what I've been playing this week. But for me, I think that it's awesome that it's finally being recognized, because we talked about on our show, we talked a couple weeks ago about addiction, and my co-host at the time, Dan Rockwood, had talked about how addiction is one of those things that we hear it and we automatically go to drugs or alcohol or cigarettes. You never think that anything in all of existence can be addictive. I've talked about it on my show how I've struggled with pornography addiction, sex addiction, and I think that that's not something that's really looked at as a quote unquote addiction. Or video games is the same thing. I feel like it's not something. I feel like it's something that's really dismissed because it's not traditional addictions. And it's awesome that they're finally recognizing it as an addiction, that if people are suffering from it, you can get help for it now. And, it's so mild here in America. And I texted you guys about this documentary that if anyone wants to check out, it's streaming on Netflix. It's called Lo and Behold. And there's a scene where they were kind of talking about the way that in Japan or China, how they handled this addiction. And they have like gaming cafes that are actually set up over there, and people will just walk in and they will wear legitimate diapers so that they don't have to stop playing to use the bathroom. And I feel like as a culture, we might not have gotten that bad yet, but I feel like if it is not recognized, it has the potential to be brought to that depth.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think some World of Warcraft players may actually do that.
You may actually know one or two. All joking aside, you're right. Especially over in, it's been in Japan, I think even in like South Korea, you hear these stories every now and again of someone literally dying at one of these internet cafes because they've been playing for like 45 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
I always took those as just these one-offs, like, just someone just, did it. You know what I mean? Just kind of like you won't see this as an affliction or anything. Just, wow, he just went off the rails and wouldn't stop playing video games. When Anthony brought it up to us to do that episode, it's still hard for me sometimes, even when I'm on your show, Josh, and I don't mean in a bad way, to talk about those type of topics. As much as I'm open about myself, and I'll, in front of the mic, I kind of take the Howard Stern approach, and, I'll open up to the world. But still, those topic subject matters, because I like to be more, upbeat, funny. I mean, I may not be upbeat and funny, but I feel like I'm upbeat and funny, and those topics are tough.
Wait, does that make me the serious one of the duo?
That very well may.
The world is doomed.
But when we decided to do the World Health Organization episode, it really did for this show. Like you said, Josh, it brought us out of the comfort zone, and I think it opened up my eyes a little bit more as to what it could be, what it could become. I just figured it was just people being antisocial, but clearly it's more than that. And if it certainly wasn't for Victims and Villains, I don't think me and Ant would have ever done that type of episode, or at least maybe not have taken it as serious as we would have.
No, he's absolutely right. I think
And they're tough things to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about. A lot of people, it's uncomfortable to talk about your problems, no matter how open you are.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about your problems is always a bad thing. Talking about something as serious as like an addiction is even harder. You see so many people who succumb to these things, and it's awful. Whatever the addiction is, So it's a testament to you. For being able to get us to talk about things like that a little bit more easily.
And I feel like those are conversations that need to be had. And it sucks that we live in a culture where that's such a hard thing to have conversations about, that like we just, for whatever reason, feel like we can't really digress into our problems because we feel like we constantly have to portray this like perfect image. And look, we're flawed. I mean, we are just flawed people.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
All of us, Ant. All of us.
No. See, I disagree there.
You're at 99%. You're at 99%.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, as long as I'm like the closest to perfect, that's all that matters.
What I got to deal with for 100 episodes, Josh?
Yeah. What stuff that hangs out around the 1% mark are things like the Virtual Boy.
Oh, I mean, is it even worthy of 1%? I feel
no,
like
I don't know. On Rotten Tomatoes,
like
it would definitely have 0.
Maybe like 0.0000000001.
Larry has taken a Virtual Boy beating.
45 minutes. I said it in the beginning of the segment. 45 minutes, Josh. I know you weren't there, but still.
Everybody's got to get their licks in, Larry. Sorry.
You were saying, Josh.
That's very true. I think that we live in a society where we're viewed as like we're flawed, but we try and create this image of perfection. And I feel like taking steps to acknowledging that something like video game addiction is a thing, and it's a crippling thing at that. Maybe not to somewhere as to the depth of like a drug addiction or like alcohol. Addiction's an addiction. And
I'm sorry, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, an addiction is an addiction, and to acknowledge that it's a real thing and that it has real problems, like that, I think is a step in the right direction, and that now you can get help for that. That is, again, let's say a further step in the right direction.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're right. Like I said in the beginning, I just took it as just being antisocial, which some people are. Not being a problem or a disease, just people just being antisocial. But, I was going to say, because you were kind of, but then I heard what you're talking about. Like gaming disorder, maybe not on par with drugs and alcohol, but it could be because eventually, and I don't want it to, but it could be because if we have people sitting in these internet cafes for 3 or 4 days straight, just dying from exhaustion or lack of food or whatever it is that's killing them, lack of drink or water, that's when it hits that level. And have you ever seen, I guess you've seen these internet cafes.
Yeah, I've seen them, and one of the things I'll always question is why employees aren't able to stop people at a certain amount of time. Like you would think, there should be some type of level where it's like, okay, if you get, if you pass 10 hours, 12 hours, which is absurd when I think about like playing, I've sat in front of my systems and played them for a day, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's not like I haven't gotten out of my chair. Yeah. I'll play for a while, get up, go get some food, go back, play some more. I've never sat for like a 12-hour like marathon block like that.
That could be cultural.
Yeah, and it could be cultural. It could be a total cultural thing. I just don't understand, like, if this is becoming such a disease or an addiction or whatever it is, that it's causing bodily harm, that they would impose some type of limit. So in other words, it's like, if you want to keep playing, fine, but after 4 hours, you need to get up for 15 minutes, like a forced 15-minute, 20-minute break just to go eat, breathe, something.
What's funny is, not funny, but just in a way, the reason why the internet cafes are so popular in some places, and I can't remember, it's probably not Japan, maybe China, maybe South Korea, But the government kind of, because of this gaming situation, the government limits the access of games on the internet. When they're home or something, like the private sector.
So the only way you can play them is at the cafes.
Exactly. That's why they're playing at the cafes.
Which is fine, but that doesn't mean you have to sit there for 36 hours.
Agreed. But that's where you get that from. Yeah,
it's crazy. But and when Larry and I were debating it, Josh, because when the World Health Organization came out and actually now classified gaming disorder as a disease, we went back and forth for a while about whether or not it's a legitimate disease. Like, can you consider it a disease where, like, insurance companies would cover, like, rehab for it and things like that? Because this is where it becomes like a touch, like one of those things. It's like, is it truly a disease, or is it just an addiction?
And Josh, before you go ahead, just because kind of like the reason why I go back and forth if it's a disease or not, because and I'm not looking to get into the argument, not in a bad way, just the back and forth. But like me personally, I don't equate the whole violence in gaming. That I don't put two and two together on that. But that's me. That's why I'm like, is it a disease? Is it not a disease? And I'm not saying that it's not a disease. I'm just saying I haven't understood that yet, because I don't see the connection between violence and gameplay. Versus how this could be a disease. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, I feel like, as far as like insurance, I feel like this is one of those things that would fall under mental health, because the way that and I feel like everyone reacts differently to mental health and to video games. Period. I feel like there are some people that. And I feel like it's entertainment. There are some people that you can take horror movies, for instance. There are some people that can avidly watch horror films because, they grew up on them, or they love them. They love being around them. And then there are some people that can't watch them simply because of the way that their content, whether it scares them, it gives them nightmares, or it can give them ideas as far as how to kill someone, or it can also, even like getting into like a spiritual sense, can affect them in that way. And I feel and
there are some of us that watch them that just take notes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I just said.
You just
and
I just quoted him.
I feel like
taking notes and acting on them are two different things.
Touche.
You'll never get me to admit to the other.
But I feel like video games have the. I feel like video games are the same exact way. It can give you ideas. It can affect you in completely different ways, but as far as like, I feel like we're still young in understanding mental health. And when I say that, I feel like when you're trying to classify it as, an addiction and a disease with insurance companies, I feel like we're still young in understanding truly, A, what that looks like, and B, how to do it. And I feel like it's all because of we don't really understand mental health to the depth we need to understand it.
I think they're going to treat, and I get all that, and you're right. I think more, and maybe that's where I'm coming from now that you explained it like that, Josh, where maybe gaming disorder in its own category may not be the way, but with it as just part of mental disorder, because there's got to be something going on if you just can't remove yourself from the television screen for that long, for days on end. So maybe it's more like a subcategory as opposed to its own entity. But also, it's going to be treated the same way like medical marijuana was. Once that started to become, part of treatment, that whole World Health Organization had to, figure out if it's something that's worthwhile or not. And from the insurance side of it, they will have to figure out if it's something that's legit and, just someone that's just trying to, score some pot for the sake of scoring pot. I think this may go for a little while before it's like 100%. This is it. This is gaming disorder. This is not gaming disorder.
I agree, and I feel like it's at what point, what test do you have to kind of talk about in order, like what test do you have to run
diagnose it
in order, to like diagnose it?
Super Mario Brothers speedrun.
So. Nice.
We like the levity here at the Retro Gamers.
I don't know. I thought we were always serious. Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm the serious one.
Womp first. Elmo can break up this party.
Oh, Elmo's back. What's going on, Elmo?
Oh God.
Elmo's here.
I feel like
sucks.
I feel like Elmo was one of the reasons why we're in the contest. I don't know why. I think Elmo, you had something to do with it.
Whoa! Elmo had nothing to do with it.
I think we'll let Elmo go before Elmo has to start taking some
I was going to
lozenges.
say, I think Elmo was getting busy with something else at that time.
It was nice seeing you, Elmo. Bring back Josh, please.
All right. So Elmo is going to send you a bill for his guest appearance.
What?
Yeah, Larry, that goes in your favor for the contest.
What?
Wait, I guess it would definitely go in Anthony's favor since the bill is going to be added onto your total.
Possibly.
Now we're talking. And speaking of, maybe it's time we start moving on to discussing our little shopping.
This
contest.
Is why I hate Captain Nostalgia. So
okay, so wait, before we get into it, Josh, as the judge for said contest, you want to reiterate what the actual contest is for our viewers. Or listeners, I should say. Nobody's viewing this.
So at the
Thank God.
At the beginning of the year, I had done a guest appearance with you guys on like a one-off episode, and you guys had been at that point. I think it was only a couple weeks into the year. We made you. I challenged you guys to see who would spend the more money, and the loser had to buy the winner Virtual Boy. So the contest is pretty much just open. It's just retro video games. All right.
That, and I honestly thought I was going to be a shoo-in to be able to win this. Mm-hmm. I have quickly realized, I think, that maybe not. That this may not work at all in my favor. And at this point, we're mid-year, right? Pretty much, maybe a little outside of mid-year.
Little later. We're almost 7 months into the year.
But we actually, Josh, to make it official at this point, we have our mid-year tallies.
I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Larry's losing pretty significantly. That's just my theory. I have nothing to back that up with. I just feel like from listening to your show, I've heard you speak about what you buy more.
Look what's behind me. So let's let's get into this. Let's. Do you want to do it maybe Price is Right style? Does Josh want to try and bid on how much maybe we both spent? See if you can guess without going over.
Yeah, sure. Let's try.
All right, so we're gonna. So for the sake of this at the moment now, okay. Larry, I think Larry should go first.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's kind of introduce this.
Yeah, let's introduce it.
I was going to say, so basically, beginning of the year, actually right before the new year, I found Game On, wonderful video game store in Miller Place and Smithtown. Before that, Anthony, with his travels back and forth to Japan with New Potato. What? Super Potato. New Potato. New Potato is the comic book store next door. Super Potato. And
the retro gamers' preferred retro gaming shop of choice in Japan.
Yep.
Wait. Before you go on, you made a crucial mistake there, Larry.
What'd I do?
Okay, because if Super Potato is in Japan, New Potato, the quote-unquote comic book store, it would be the manga store, bro.
Okay, fair enough.
Sure.
Well, Anthony never tells me about New Potato. He goes there and doesn't tell anybody. So.
New Potato is something completely different. I'm not allowed to talk about on this.
And then this
podcast.
Sweet Potato, that's a whole different store that I don't think anyone should go into. So.
Well, I do love me some sweet potatoes sometimes. we're gonna leave that there.
So I've discovered all these stores. Game On, the official
dip it in sauce.
The official retro gaming store on the East Coast. And I've been there almost every week now. It's terrible on my end, but they're good people. And actually, I was there yesterday, and I wanted to wait for this part here where Anthony did give us a good, congratulations on 100 episodes. So they thought that was pretty cool, and gave us a nice little card and everything like that.
Did they give you a free game?
No free game.
There?
No free game.
Damn it!
I did get a gift card though. They did give me a gift card because they don't know, they haven't met you yet. So.
Okay. Oh, do I get a gift card?
They haven't met you yet.
Wait. As the CEO of more of the same network, do I get a card?
That's a whole nother ballgame on that part. And I haven't filled out all my paperwork correctly, so if you want to be the CEO, go right ahead. Because that can all fall on you.
You haven't given the CEO a gift card? What's wrong with you?
Come on. I'm the reason you lasted 100 episodes, bro.
How dare you say something like that? All right, so
wow.
With the amount of posts, that I do from Game On, the talking about it, the back and forth with what we've talked about with Anthony going to Super Potato in Osaka and Tokyo and wherever else. Josh, how much do you think I've probably racked up since January 1st, 2018? And I know it's a strong ballpark, don't get me wrong. So
by the way, just throwing this out there. Newer game systems that like the Retro Freak or the NES Classic, they don't count. However, homebrews do count. So before you announce yours, do you have homebrews tallied in?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna say is homebrews and new video games. I'm gonna say probably somewhere close to 475.
400.
He does that in one trip.
Okay, $475. All right. My total from January 1st on. And as of this recording, we're recording on July 22nd. Mom, stop listening. $1,887.58.
Ooh!
Wow!
And that is
credit card company loves you.
I was just gonna say, Larry's shopping is sponsored by Visa, MasterCard, and American Express.
No, not American. Game On doesn't take American Express. This
Visa
is
and MasterCard.
the God honest truth. I went on. I did a search. Mostly all my purchases are Game On. So I searched that, and then of course I searched. When I PayPal Anthony, because the only things I've PayPal him for have been stuff from Japan. So that is where I am at. $1,887.58, and that is a real number.
Okay.
You need to text that to me so I can promote this contest on our Instagram @victimsandvillains.
Oh, wow, Larry. Wow.
Look, I got some great stuff out of it. Don't get me wrong. I got some amazing stuff. And I
don't
love
know.
it.
I'm sure you have. It's just that, damn.
You know what's going to be even more amazing? Watching Anthony destroy a virtual boy on Facebook Live.
Oh, you didn't hear.
Oh, and you did not hear the wonderful conversation we had with Charlie in our last segment, because just to catch you up really quickly, Charlie has access to people who operate bulldozers. So not only will I get to destroy it with the sledgehammer, I'll get to bulldoze the pieces. And we're going to do... I will fly to the East Coast to do this.
Yes.
So, and you...
Let me know when, and I will be there.
We're going to make it a whole event. We're going to start charging people.
Yep. We're going to have you and Charlie. And not only that, Charlie lives in Pennsylvania. So.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
So your neck of the woods. It'll be a shorter trip for you.
True say. True.
Yeah.
Down.
All
down.
right. So that's Larry.
So...
All right, so I get to guess his, and so...
Okay. So now, here, before you guess, we're going to bear in mind a couple of things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have been to Japan this year. Just to give you an idea. I've been to Japan this year, I think, 4 times. I think in the first 7 months. 3 of those times I have made it over to Super Potato. 3 out of the 4. And aside from that, I have my local retro shops, Game Dude, which is like my retro Costco for shopping.
I like that. That's actually very accurate.
It's retro Costco. Let's see, what else can I tell you to help you tally this up? I also went to the what the hell is the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo back in January or February of this year, and did a little shopping there. And I think that's it. Those are my major stops along the way. So what do you think, Josh?
Also, keep this in mind. Anthony tends to go for games in box, which could cost more money.
That is correct. I tend to go for games in box.
Okay. I was way off on Larry. I was trying to be nice.
You were way off, so give us a number.
So I will say $10.80 for you.
$1,080.
That is $1,080, Bob.
Drew.
Sorry.
Drew.
May Bob rest in peace. Oh,
He's
wait.
not dead yet.
I don't know.
Sure, cats and dogs wish he was.
All right. So I said at the beginning of this year I was winning this thing. And I will say this. Before I give you a number, I'm very thankful that over the course of the last 7 months, I have become obsessed with my comic book collection.
Comics for the win.
Comics are for the win, especially because I just dropped $300 on a comic book.
On one comic book?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, I get it, but...
Video games aside, which one?
Avengers number 8, first appearance of Kang the Conqueror.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool. Graded?
Very, very graded, 6.5.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Pretty decent condition. Very happy about that. But besides that, I really do believe that it's the comic book collecting that has saved me this year, and it couldn't have come at a better year because I'm going to win this contest.
I'm curious how much you spent in comics this year, but we'll talk about that later.
If I told you how much I spent in comics, I might be losing the contest. There's a good chance.
1080.
1080 is the number.
Actual
My
retail
total,
price?
The actual retail price of my spending spree on video games this year, as of July 22nd, 2018, is $672.47.
All right, bullshit. And I'll edit that out. How are you that low and not over $1,000?
I'll tell you. Shut up. I'll tell you exactly why. The reason why I'm not over $1,000 is because the C64 Mini doesn't count. The Famicom 50th anniversary manga doesn't count. The Retro Freak. Well, actually, I counted the Retro Freak in here. The Retro Freak counted. No, I'm not kidding you.
I believe you.
I have been spending more money on comic books lately than video games, and as a result, $672.47.
I knew I should have bought a couple extra wrestling belts. That would have offset me.
And well, hold on. You have to understand too that if you've listened to his stories from going to Japan, the retail value over there is much lower than it is over here. So if you're spending more money for in-box games over there, what might cost over here might cost $50. It might only cost $5 over there.
Also,
Larry. I mean, there are a lot of games that I bought there. I showed you the prices for them. Like all the wrestling games that I bought in box were like $3.
I get it. Plus, not only that, you still have a lot of your old games.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, a lot of the games I have in my collection are existing.
Yeah.
So,
Me, I'm starting from scratch.
Right, so you're definitely shopping a lot more than me. I know I didn't realize 3 times as more as me, but this puts me in the perfect position to win this contest.
Josh, is there anything that you want that Anthony can get you that you don't have to pay him back for?
Oh.
Anything at all?
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
Ghost in the Shell,
I don't-
in box,
I-
sealed.
I don't buy video games based off of 90s Nickelodeon shows. Sorry, Josh.
Wow.
Whoa. I still want Ghost in the Shell, bro. Still want Ghost in the Shell.
And I will keep my eye out for Ghost
Sealed
in the Shell.
in box.
And not only that...
It does
and
not
only
have
that,
to be in box.
No. If I find it for you...
Josh, I gotta win.
No. If I find it for you, I'll even put it against my total because I'm not going to
shut up.
Because I'm not going to spend $1,800.
Do you want me to start putting my total towards yours? Because I've spent like $15 this year.
Sure, add it
You got
on.
one Toy Story game on PlayStation, right? What'd you
Whoa,
get?
Exactly.
whoa!
Good game.
Mortal Kombat 2 on Sega Genesis.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
In box.
In
So
box,
I
really? Oh, cool.
I feel so good about these totals now that I think I'm going to go retro shopping today. Because now I know I have a $1,200 buffer.
Thank God we're not
all
doing
set.
pops because that number would have been way up.
I am all set.
Oh. Speaking of pop, actually, it's pretty funny. Speaking of pop vinyls, a friend of mine just texted me. He's getting rid of pops, and he just sent me about 7 photos of what he has. So thank God pop vinyls do not count.
Dude, yeah, just don't buy them.
Actually, he's got a couple good ones in box. So so this contest may end early. We were talking about a mercy rule. Josh, is there a mercy rule that could possibly play into this near the end of the year?
Define mercy rule.
Where it's just clear that we're going to go back to... Is there a shopping addiction? There's got to be. Because apparently now I have it. And where it's just... I'm just way out in front and just no looking back. And it's clear that I have a problem.
Yeah, well, we can definitely agree with that. Larry does have a problem. This is just one of them.
That's very true.
I still blame you. I'm putting the whole blame on you, Josh. All of
Josh, man, Josh. Not only can I not, I'm seriously grateful. I'm so grateful that you came up with this whole concept. I am super grateful that Larry completely ignored all of the little voices in his head that was probably telling him not to go through with this because he knows what happens when he goes shopping, and he still agreed to this. I like this. This is just like the perfect storm of awesomeness for me.
Self-control. First off, no. Self-control. That's what I'm trying to teach you, Larry.
I hear you.
Second off, you did not have to take me up on this contest.
Exactly.
I don't think I did. I think Anthony did.
No. If we can go back, It's on tape. You agreed to this.
No, unless he accidentally will get deleted from the server.
Look. When you buy me my Virtual Boy, I want you to remember that. Now, I want it in box because I want to destroy the box too.
What?
I didn't just have to destroy the console.
Wait a minute now.
I want the box. I want, like, if we can get the manufacturer. If we can get Gunpei Yokoi to show up, the creator of the Virtual Boy, so he can watch me destroy this thing.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Well, I mean, he might show up. You never know.
He might. You know what? Then I will bring a Ouija board, and I will start channeling spirits.
God damn.
Because then he will be there.
Oh.
I know if you. Yes.
I'm sorry, Larry.
And that doesn't even scratch the surface of my overall debt, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh,
Good
man!
Lord.
In serious news, and really sad, he actually died in '97, and he was only 56.
Wow! I didn't realize he was that long. Okay.
All right,
boy,
I'm gonna go on.
All right.
Hold
on.
Ouija. Order the Ouija.
So,
you don't have a Ouija
Larry,
board already? Yeah.
Ouija board.
I am expecting to hear a episode about on the better half about this debt, and you and Frank can talk about how different you handle finances being married versus being single.
Oh, they've done that on the show.
I was gonna say, I think we may have already have done that.
I just recently listened to the episode where Larry talked about what he purchased over SummerSlam weekend versus what Frank spent taking his son to the doctor.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Look, how was I supposed to know they were going to be selling the NXT Championship belt at SummerSlam?
Look, it's okay, Larry. All I know is that this contest is awesome. I'm looking for a Ouija board as we speak. I'm just going to prep for the end of the year.
It's a toy.
Good. No, you know what? They have some serious ones on here. Look, I just found one for $109, which I will purchase and put towards my retro shopping bill, which still won't get me anywhere near what you've spent.
I want to end this segment. Josh, thank you very much for being part of the Retro Gamers, and thank you very much. We thank you for being truly our #Pod Brothers, and we look forward to many more episodes. A lot of what we do keep you in mind. We had you were the intro for a while for a segment for This Week in
That's
Gaming.
Right. Yeah, can we get a? Do you remember how you used to say that? Can we get a replay?
I do. And This Week in Gaming.
It's like
Wow.
like Aretha Franklin. He never does it the same way twice live.
No, he definitely does not, and we couldn't be happier with that.
I apparently scared my cats doing that.
Oh boy.
Oh man, yeah, well, because they're the only ones that heard it.
So again, Josh, thank you very much for being
Thank you, Josh.
on this trip with us. 100 episodes and many more, and we're going to definitely have you on again and again and again. So
yeah, so my juice box is raised to you guys for 100 more.
All right, awesome. Sounds good.
Go check out Victims and Villains. Go check out the PS Midnight Cast. Go check out Josh. Everybody, Brandon, we love you as well. You're there. And all good stuff. Again,
the sash is on the way.
Yes.
This looks like a job for Superman.
Oh, what a long and arduous day. But we're here. We're at the end.
We have made it to the end of episode 100, the centennial.
Wow. We don't look at day over 99.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, I hear you on that. No, that's it. Episode 100 in the books. This was actually a very fun episode. This was a good time. And, what was that? Everything's now falling apart.
Everything's falling. Yeah, we literally had exactly what it took to get to 100 and no more.
Yeah, that's it. Good night, folks. We're deleting everything.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's for me, it's been an absolute blast doing these episodes with you, especially because I live on the other side of the country now, and we don't get to see each other that often in person. So, looking at your ugly mug every week while we record these has been fun.
No, you're exactly right, Ant. When you move to LA, things happen. I think you moved to LA way before we started doing this. And, we keep in touch, but, it just didn't keep in touch. But our friendship didn't need that, you know what I mean? So it would have been fine regardless. But since doing the podcast, you're exactly right. It's still, in today's day and age, in 2018, we do this through Skype. You can be you can be wherever you are. I could be wherever I am, and we can still do this. And it's definitely kept us in contact with each other, which, again, for the better. So I'm happy that we've been doing this.
Yeah, me too, definitely. And, and it's not going to stop here. We're going to keep going.
No, absolutely. You think it stops at 100? I don't think so.
No, basically, we're going to go until the FCC shuts us down.
As soon as they show up, as soon as they start doing podcasts, then we're in trouble. Actually, we'd be fine. The other two shows would be in trouble.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the other shows on your network are in more trouble than this one. I think we're the legit show.
What?
Or I should say the PC show. I don't know.
Yes, it's definitely that. But, speaking of which, we have this show, and actually the Retro Gamers essentially launched. So the more of the same family of podcasts. This was the catalyst. This started the better half because Frank wouldn't shut up about wanting to do a podcast. And
he was jealous of us.
He talks, as we learned from another Messina earlier today. He talks and talks and talks, but that's good. And that's what got us to do the Better Half podcast, which drops every other Wednesday. And not only that, but another longtime friend of ours, Anthony Chu, with the Yin and the Yang podcast that drops every Friday. And we're going to do an overhaul on that one. So expect that to come back bigger, better than ever. Again, every Friday on that one. And
we got a big podcasting family.
We do. And on a personal level, because I'm on all three, I have to say, doing this with you, with Frank, with Anthony, it's been tremendous. And, three of my best friends, I enjoy every minute of it, especially when I have to go back and edit it, because I get to hear it again and just listen to the nonsense that a lot of times we talk about. So,
yeah, no. But Larry, which one's your favorite?
Of course, the Retro Gamers.
Of course it is.
I'll do that.
Even though I've heard you say that on the Better Half and the Yin and the Yang.
I may have, recording time, may have to change it up a little bit.
Yes.
But nevertheless,
yes.
Good. But anyway, go. 100 episodes and we're talking over each other. Go.
Yeah, you know what? Shut up. It's my turn. But we talked about that we were going to have some announcements. But before we get to our announcements, we do want to throw some thank yous out there for everybody. Everybody out there has been helping us out. So I'm gonna go through a few. Larry's gonna go through a few.
Yeah,
Does
absolutely.
that make sense, Larry?
Absolutely.
First off, I have to give a special thank you to all of our guest hosts who have been on the show. There've been quite a few who have joined us over time. We had three of them on today. But definitely thank you, especially for when because of my job and how much I travel and how I need to miss episodes here and there because of that. I'm very grateful that we have a stable group of guest hosts who can help keep the show alive when I'm not around. And on top of that, also when they join both of us. It's definitely a blast to have all of them on here. So a special thank you to them.
And you know what? In a weird way, I enjoy when I've probably missed only a couple of shows, and it's weird. In a weird way, I enjoy hearing you guest host with someone else. Like I can listen to it like a third party as like a whole different episode, and those I get a kick out of as well.
Well, yeah, of course, because I am the entertainment of the show.
Absolutely.
But, so I definitely wanted to give a shout-out to that. Definitely shout-out to Victims and Villains, Josh, who's been our third, our third little brother in the podcasting world, which is awesome. And, of course, PS Midnight Cast as well. Yeah. We got to give them
Josh and Brandon, big time.
Yes.
Big time.
Definitely got to thank Charles at Get Your Geek On, who who kind of took us onto his network while we were young, and growing. So thank you to him.
Absolutely.
And then Larry, why don't you throw out a few thank yous? I don't want to be the only one having gratitude here.
The Mutual Admiration Society here.
Yeah, basically.
I want to thank all. You talked about Josh kind of being the third. He's the third on the mic. I think the third retro gamer in person has been Glenn, my friend Glenn Notaro, our friend Glenn. He's helped out here on the East Coast for times when either Anthony wasn't available and I went somewhere to do a broadcast or something, or when Anthony was when we were doing the expo last year. He helped out with the camera. He was kind of our third. So Glenn, thank you very much.
Glenn.
Big time help. I want to also thank another podcast that we met at the in Brooklyn at a expo, Playable Characters podcast. Very funny podcast. They always have a different character on. It's, they had, I think they actually had Stanley on one time. They had the guy who had to keep relighting all the candles in all the Castlevania mansions,
Nice.
like silly stuff like that. Very funny pod. Go listen to their episode with Princess Peach and Daisy. Hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. I also want to thank, which, as we heard, they have gotten a lot of my money this year, but I absolutely love them. I love them. Brian and Tristan over at Game On out here on Long Island. You guys are big time. You're not just a retailer. I consider you guys friends. And when I show up, it's a great time. You guys run a great store, so I want to thank you as well. You've Game On and a lot of the other stores that we're going to mention have actually become part of the Retro Gamer family.
Yeah, and on my end, obviously, have to give a shout out to Game Dude, my LA store that I go to a lot. There's also Game Realms, which I go to. Super Potato, our hookup in Japan. I've spent way more money there than I should have.
Really, the one that started it. They were the first store for us.
They really were the first store for us, and of course, I had to travel 6,500 miles for that. But a big thank you to them. And then just really quickly on Facebook, we've run into a lot of other retro networks. So and they share our stuff, we share theirs. It's great. So thank you to Super Retro Game Time, Retro Plastic Gaming,
ADD.
Old School Gamer Mama,
Yep.
ADD Gamer, One Point Only, and anybody else out there who has been been on our page as well. Thank you.
I know we're missing some, but it's okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. All 1,550 people who have liked our page.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Also, we've been to a couple of expos as well, able to spread the joy of the show, the podcast. We've done a couple of live episodes as well.
we have.
Cradle of Aviation, first and foremost, thank you very much, over in Garden City. They had that Retro Expo. They did Retro Nights. They even hold a couple of conventions, one of which is the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo that we were at last year, that I'm going to be at again this year. I know scheduling conflicts makes it a little difficult for Anthony to be there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
What's good about us being on different coasts is that we can do that. Like when Anthony goes to the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo, he can represent us there. I can represent us out here.
Exactly.
So Cradle of Aviation has been tremendous for us. Thank you very much. Another expo, real quick, I want to mention is Aviators Retro Gaming Tournament and Expo over in Brooklyn. I really hope you guys do another one next year, because that show was a lot of fun. Again, great podcast that we did that day, and met a lot of good friends, a lot of new friends as well from that expo.
Yep.
Oh,
really,
and
really awesome stuff.
Real quick, so I can officially make it a mention, the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo 2018 will be at the Cradle of Aviation, August 11th and August 12th. Get your tickets at expo.liretro.com. They're doing tournaments, achievement stations, free play. There's a museum that's going to be set up. Of course, vendors, cosplay, and maybe you do want to come in, because there will be tabletop gaming as well.
Ooh,
Almost like a little mini expo.
No, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I'll book a flight right now.
Go get your tickets again, expo.liretro.com.
Yep. And I think, Larry, that's going to lead us into...
Hold it.
Oh, you got one more.
I got
one more?
Two more.
Well, go quickly.
Okay.
Damn it. How many thank yous can we have?
You're right. The first place that let us do a live stream, Barcade.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Barcade. We're
thank-
looking forward to your Los Angeles establishment.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to look. We were at the Williamsburg in Brooklyn.
Yep.
So thank you very much. Go check wherever you are. I know there's Brooklyn, Jersey somewhere. I think there's one in Philly now, in the city, in New York City. Go check out Barcade. Great place, great atmosphere. Check them out. And the final one I want to mention, which is a little more new, but at the same time, I saw this, and I'm like, this thing's pretty sweet. I've totally give them a shout out on the show. They're called DNA Dimensions Design. And I put a thing up on the page.
I remember you posting that.
Yeah, so first of all, it's this cool little base that you can actually use to put even like regular NES games on. It's got it's got Nintendo on it. It's a wooden block. And they're at www.designeddnashop.com. But the piece de resistance is this. And let me see. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
It's an NES cartridge with an LCD screen where the label is, and
Which is awesome.
It just rifles.
It cycles.
Yeah, it's like a digital picture frame.
It's awesome.
And it just goes through all the different labels. Really, really cool. Check them out. I wanted to give them a shout out.
Very cool. And now, may I move on now? Do I have permission?
I think I covered all the bases, yes.
Yeah, about time. Anyway, so now we're at the end of episode 100. We have some announcements we want to make, for the next 100 episodes or however long. We've got some new stuff to announce. First off, our website has undergone some reconstruction. You can go check that out now at theretrogamers.com. So that's really cool. Our Facebook page remains the same, which is facebook.com/retrogamerspodcast. Instagram is now Retro Gamers Podcast. For sake of uniformity, we had a different Instagram account. The big announcements, though, we want to make, which we're adding to our repertoire here, is on YouTube. So starting next week, you will not only be able to listen to the Retro Gamers on all of our usual sites, which are Spreaker, iHeartRadio, we're going to be added to Spotify shortly. Where else are we, Larry? Amazon Alexa, iTunes.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Wherever you listen to podcasts.
Right. So wherever you listen to podcasts, we're basically there. But starting with next week's episode 101, you will be able to watch the Retro Gamers on YouTube.
Oh,
our podcasts are now becoming video content as well.
And that's going to be interesting. That's going to be fun.
We're definitely going to get caught by the FCC on that. So you can look for us on YouTube now. You see us talk about stuff all the time. Now you'll actually be able to see us, and not only see us, but you'll be able to see the things that we show each other all the time. Yeah. Since if you listen to the last segment, Larry likes to buy a lot more than I do.
Yeah, I may not be showing much anymore.
Yeah, no, you're going to have to now. Now it's video.
Man.
And then we're slowly working on it. We will be having a Twitch page shortly. That is the next thing that we're going to be tackling. So you'll be able to watch us stream on Twitch. And last but not least, the thing I am most excited about, we've been talking about doing this for the longest time, and we finally are coming around to it. It's going to be our first ever Retro Gamers giveaway contest.
Yep, we're doing it. We're doing it.
We're finally pulling the trigger, episode 100, and we've got a good one for you. Our first giveaway contest. The Retro Gamers will be giving away a brand new NES Classic.
Yep.
So information for this is going to be available on our Facebook page. It's going to be on our website. There's going to be an entry form, one email entry per person. And the randomly selected winner will receive a brand new NES Classic, compliments of the Retro Gamers.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe we'll sign it for you so that way it can devalue itself.
Yeah, nothing says devaluation like a couple of geeks signing a box.
Don't worry, we're not going to sign it. But we're going to give it away. We've been talking about it for a long time. We finally got our hands on it. And some people still having difficulty finding it, but at least now you can own one that you got from the Retro Gamers podcast. So be on the lookout for the order form. What? For the contest entry form.
The contest entry form.
And share it. Let everyone know.
Yeah, share it. Let everybody know. We're going to be posting it everywhere that we can. We want to get as many people to enter the contest. You may not want to because it will increase the likelihood of you winning it, but we understand. We're going to be sharing this everywhere, and look for more contests and giveaways in the future. So we're really excited about adding that to our sites and
absolutely
our show.
And of course, if you want to buy merch, tchip.com. Just do a search for the Retro Gamers or VB Sucks, VBSUX. check that out. And also, I want to thank as well as we get ready to close, because you've heard them.
I'm sorry, but the thank you portion of this segment has already concluded.
Oh, wow. It sounds like I'm on the subway. Is that Charlie?
Next stop, Atlantic Avenue.
Next stop, Coopersville. The open and close theme song, because to be honest with you, we're going to give you a little heads up. You know, we're gonna change it up a little bit. Nothing bad at all. Just figure put a new coat of paint. That's all. But we do want to thank Eric Skiff for the last 100 episodes, giving us "Come and Find Me" B-Mix off of Resistor Anthems. Eric Skiff, you can find him SoundCloud.com or at ericskiff.com/music. It's in actually every week. The links are in the description. So go check him out. He has some cool 8-bit sounding music. And I still haven't figured out what we're going to do moving forward as far as music, but there will be something new next week.
Which is awesome.
Yes, and all good. And I think with that, that may be it.
That's it? We don't want to talk anymore? It's only been like 50 hours.
It's a 9-hour... Jerry Lewis is going to show up here in a little while. That's how long we've been talking.
I congratulate anybody who gets to the end of the episode and actually hears about the contest.
Yeah, we may mention it again in the beginning next week.
Yeah, we definitely made you wait for it.
So, but Ant, again, thank you for just being a great friend and a great partner in this with the podcast. Doing this subject matter, there's really no one else I could have done it for this long with. So thank you very much, brother.
That's very true. Thank you again, and we're going to do it again next week.
Yes, absolutely, as we will do it every week, and for the 100th time. Oh, first of all, remember, share. Whoever you know, share. Do the 5-star ratings. And now, for the 100th time, thank you very much for listening, and catch us all right here next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.